Two in the full-back positions. Ben White starts at right back, Zinchenko at left back, and Leandro Trossard comes in. Thomas Partey drops to the bench. So they will be David Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko, Ødegaard, Rice and Mikel Merino dropping a little bit deeper, we think. Saka and Martinelli either side of Trossard. Matt, very quickly, a centre-half's appreciation of the job Jakub Kivior has done since stepping in for Gabriel.
Oh, it's fantastic, to be honest. I mean, I think that was a big question mark on a lot of Arsenal fans' minds was, can Kivior cope with this level of game? Well, I think he's answered that question with those two performances against Madrid, and he's got an opportunity to play again today and build and keep growing. That partnership between him and Saliba could be very, very important for Arsenal this season.
If Arsenal were to lose this game, it would be a fourth Premier League defeat of the season. That would mean that Liverpool could win the title later on at Leicester. We've got full commentary of Leicester against Liverpool. If Arsenal draw this game and Liverpool win this afternoon, then the title will effectively be theirs. Those are the scenarios that are possible. Let's see how it actually plays out. The game gets underway. Ipswich make one change from the 2-2 draw at Chelsea last weekend. It's at centre-back. Jacob Greaves returns. Cameron Burgess drops to the bench. Ipswich have kicked off. They're playing from left to right towards the two-tiered Sir Ralph Ramsey stand away to our right-hand side. David Raya has the ball at his feet. Declan Rice comes running towards him. Statuesque figure, bobbles a pass here to Saliba in the right-back position. Across to Ben White. Step over from Trossard. Greaves slides in, knocks the ball into Trossard. It goes out of play, but it's actually been given as a throw into Arsenal. And let me give you that Ipswich team very quickly. Alex Palmer, the goalkeeper, on loan from West Bromwich Albion. Three centre-backs, possibly this afternoon. That's how Ipswich were warming up, although at the moment it's lined up as a back four. Leif Davis is wrestling with Saka, and the throw-in goes Ipswich's way. If it is a four, Twanzebe right back, Leif Davis at left back, Dara O'Shea and Jacob Greaves, the two centre-backs. Sam Morsey and Jens Kajusta in central midfield. Ben Johnson, Julio Enciso on loan from Brighton, and Jack Clark in behind centre-forward George Hurst, son of David, former Sheffield Wednesday and Southampton striker, with Liam Delap still feeling the after effects of a rib injury. He started on the bench at Chelsea last weekend. He's on the bench again for Ipswich today. Arsenal have the ball inside their own half. Saliba in the right back position again, just prods one to White. White plays it to Raya. Raya's pretty much all in black, the Arsenal keeper away to our right. Ødegaard gets onto the ball, sweeps it to the left. Zinchenko takes a loose touch. Ben Johnson tries to make the challenge. Zinchenko just about holds on. Back to Kivior. Into midfield it comes. Ødegaard's got space to work with the ball here and just calmly rolls a pass across to Saliba. Matt Upson.
Yeah, Arsenal haven't been rattled at all in possession here. The start has been very smooth. They're playing out through the lines across the back. Very, very confident passage of passing from Arsenal at the moment. Martinelli chests the crossfield pass down, whips in across. Greaves is there, heads it straight up in the air. Spinning ball, cushioned volleyed pass by Ødegaard. Twanzebe leaps in. Dara O'Shea off balance, stumbling backwards, heads it forwards. And Kajusta just flicks it away with his right foot, and Ben White takes a touch, which takes him wide, just about keeps it in play. Jack Clark wins it for Ipswich. Good turn from Kajusta, the Swede on loan from Napoli. He's bundled over as he tried to bring the ball out of the Ipswich half. Arsenal have it again. Trossard, just short of the Ipswich penalty area, feeds Saka. Saka decides not to take Leif Davis on, comes back to Merino. Merino to Trossard, who stayed wide right here, looking for an option. Darting ball forward. Ben White made the run. It was intercepted, and Arsenal have it again with Ødegaard, who scampers forward 5 yards. Left-footed curling pass whipped into the path of Zinchenko, who's 35 yards from goal in the inside left position. Rolls the ball under the studs of his left boot and then passes low back to Saliba. And Ipswich hold their defensive shape, 0-0. Well, that's where if Merino and Havertz are in the box, I think with his left foot there's Zinchenko. It's a lovely angle. You just whip that into the box early on, ask the question of the Ipswich centre-halves, put them under pressure. Without that centre-forward in there with that kind of presence, Arsenal have to play a slightly different way. They maybe be a bit more patient and not as direct putting the ball in the box, which is a shame.
And now all of a sudden you've got Saka through the middle, Trossard wide right, Martinelli on the left-hand side. Martinelli this afternoon looking for his 50th Arsenal goal of his career. He gets the ball now inside his own half. Kajusta's breathing down his neck. Martinelli turns, plays the ball to Zinchenko. Zinchenko finds Ødegaard. Great vision. sweeps the pass out first time to Trossard, takes a touch into that Ipswich penalty area, onto the left foot, across to Ødegaard. He works it to his right foot, loads of blue shirts in the way. Ben White makes the run on the outside. Ødegaard still. Here's Martinelli, couldn't get his feet in the right place there in the pass, just goes across him and runs back to Zinchenko. He's got loads of time to try and pick out a teammate with the cross. Greaves heads it away, and then it's cleared by Morsey, and Ipswich are under a lot of pressure in this first half, Matt.
Well, yeah, they're under pressure, but Arteta's just remonstrating with the players. I think they've had a couple of really nice breakthroughs with the ball, but not actually ended up with the finished product of a shot on goal or a really good dangerous cross into the box. Been some lovely football already from Arsenal. They're very confident in being able to step through into the midfield, certainly from the back, and then play from there.
Confident, definitely not complacent. There is a real intensity early on to this Arsenal performance, although, as you say, Matt, Arteta wants more. Kivior got an absolute earful there from the manager moments ago, just down beneath us in our commentary position here in the West Stand. Kayusta breaking up play for Ipswich again, outside of the right foot, looks for Hurst. Ryers quickly out of his penalty area. Sideways pass to Rice. Rice has Enciso closing him down, but plays back to Saliba, across to Kivior. Gabriel now out for the rest of the season with the hamstring injury, so if Arsenal are going to win the Champions League this season for the first time in the club's history, it will be without one of the first choice centre-backs in Gabriel. Here's Saliba in his light blue boots. Manchester United Wolves underway at Old Trafford. Commentary on that one on Sports Extra. Fulham Chelsea also underway at 2 o'clock. You can listen to that one online via the BBC Sports website and app. And we've got full commentary of Leicester against Liverpool at 4:30. Liverpool starting the day knowing 6 points will win them the title. We've got commentary of their game next weekend in the Premier League at home to Tottenham on Sunday. 1-2 between Ødegaard and Saka. Cut back. Trossard hits the shot. It's blocked and it goes behind for the corner. The purr of appreciation from Matt Upson to my right tells you everything.
That was slick, wasn't it? Saka at his best and Ødegaard. Leif Davis is trying to show him down the line. He steps inside Saka, slips the ball to Ødegaard, but the speed of the give and go, because he just wants the ball slipped in behind then towards the line. The power of his ability to hold players off, gets the ball and then squares it first time. And it's a really good block, actually. I think it might have been Greaves or O'Shea that got across and just stopped the shot from Trossard, but lovely slick football from Arsenal.
6 minutes into the first half at Portman Road, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal corner away to our left. Saka jogs on the spot, curls it in with his left foot. Greaves is there, heads it away. Rice nods it back into the danger zone, and Ben Johnson powers a header away. Rice keeps this in play, passes back to Zinchenko, quickly across to Ødegaard, 10 yards inside the Ipswich half in a central position. Out it comes to the left to Marino. Ipswich defenders again back off. Marino with a high swinging cross to the far post. Saka's there, slightly miscues on the half volley. Martinelli jumps for it. Jack Clark then hoofs one straight up in the air, dropping on the edge of the Ipswich box. Untidy from the home team. Enciso is able to head it away, and Arsenal can start to build again from just inside the Ipswich half.
It's a very one-sided start to the game, isn't it? I mean, Ipswich, they're digging in. Kieran McKenna on the sideline in the technical area, looking very calm, but I think he's just kind of saying to his players, calm down a little bit. You know, I know you're under pressure. We're getting bopped off the pitch at the moment, but we've got to try and get hold of the ball, Ipswich, somehow.
Ipswich 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal's next game Wednesday at home against Crystal Palace in the Premier League, then a weekend off, and then a week on Tuesday. Full commentary, first leg of that Champions League semi-final at the Emirates Stadium at home to Paris Saint-Germain. Martinelli with a little back heel to Zinchenko. Still Manchester United 0, Wolves 0. Fulham 0, Chelsea 0. Here's Kivior, lofted ball. Trossard is interested. O'Shea backpedals, heads it away. Marino might have been caught there by Morsey. He goes down. Here's Ben Johnson for Ipswich. Plays it back to Twansebi, and Twansebi goes all the way back to his goalkeeper, Alex Palmer. Let's check in at Old Trafford early on then. Charlie Slater.
6 minutes gone, United 0, Wolves 0. Late change for Wolves as Jose Sarr was injured in the warm-up, so Dan Bentley plays in the Premier League for the first time in almost a year. There was also a protest in front of the director's box before the game, with fans protesting that season ticket holders are being moved. Goalless.
Our producer Rob Nothman's just shown me the early stats from this game on the BBC Sport website. 95% possession for Arsenal, but this is Ipswich on the ball. Here's Enciso, left-hand side of the Arsenal box, drives a shot in hard. That's caught Ben White. It's poleaxed him. He's down, holding his midriff, and I think we are going to get a stoppage in play. So Ipswich 0, Arsenal 0. That'll give us time to get to Craven Cottage. Fulham-Chelsea being watched by Sohail Sahi.
Well, we played 9 minutes. It's still Fulham 0, Chelsea 0. Fulham has started the Brighton much quicker in possession, much quicker around the penalty area. They had the ball in the back of the net, but it was disallowed for offside. Ryan Sessegnon was a Fulham player who was guilty of that. Fulham 0, Chelsea 0.
Ben White is back on his feet, gets a slap on the back from William Saliba. Injury interrupted season for White. And the game is going to restart with, I'm looking for a match ball, I can see it down there on the touchline. It will restart with an Arsenal throw. Just talking about Arsenal being ruthless against teams in the relegation zone. So here's one for you, Matt, from the stats pack ahead of the game. Arsenal's last 10 games against teams in the relegation zone in the Premier League, they've won them all by an aggregate score of 30 goals to 2.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well for Ipswich.
It doesn't.
I mean, you'd say it's expected, but you've still got to produce the goods at the top level, and this has been an impressive start from Arsenal. They haven't got a reward for it yet, but you just mentioned the percentage of possession is pretty impressive away from home, even against Ipswich, who have obviously fighting for their lives in a stadium that is, really well supported. The crowd get behind them, but it's been such a confident start.
Ipswich's keeper, all in bright yellow, off his line quickly there to clear into the Cobbold stand, which is one of the stands that runs alongside the touchline here, the one opposite us. Arsenal restart the game quickly. Now they're playing football right underneath our noses. Zinchenko back to Kivior. Kivior uses Raya. Raya's outside his penalty area. George Hurst, who is Ipswich's centre forward, just stands 10 yards away from him. Raya is able to easily find Kivior. Cross to Zinchenko. Zinchenko in for Lewis Skelly at left back this afternoon, but Lewis Skelly, Partey and Timber all named amongst the Arsenal substitutes. Saliba across to White, looking very easy, very smooth, very slick for Arsenal. Saka drifts into space. Ipswich defenders backing off. Saka slides a ball through. Marino, Twansebi behind him. Twansebi thought he'd made the tackle. Trossard's taking it off him. Dink pass into the area. Martinelli's interested, swung the left foot at it. Last touch, I think, came off the Arsenal man. It is given as a goal kick by the referee, Chris Kavanagh.
Yeah, lovely creative play there from Trossard, just to reverse the pass. Didn't look like there was any space to slip the ball through. It was a bit of a messy build-up, but manages to get it through there. I was just looking at the midfield, Alan, when we had a little chat about Kiyusta before the game. His head is spinning off his shoulders at the moment. I don't think he knows where Odegaard's popping up. You've got Marino running forwards, Rice is deep. The two midfield players for Ipswich, Morsey and Kiyusta, have got their work cut out this afternoon. This is not an easy game for them. Well,
Real Madrid struggled with Arsenal over 2 legs, so Ipswich Town are certainly going to have their work cut out, as you say. They've got the ball now. Leif Davis fizzes a low ball into Enciso. He wears white strapping around both wrists, the Paraguayan. Gives it to Twansebi. Enciso's close to him again, inside the Arsenal half. Dancing feet, gets away from 2 Arsenal challenges, knocks it into the path of George Hurst. It's read by Saliba, who intercepts. Then Arsenal have lost it. Kayusta comes charging towards it. Declan Rice is there first for Arsenal. Martinelli has slipped. Might have been tugged back there by Ben Johnson. Free kick is given. Ipswich fans don't like it.
I wasn't sure about that as a foul either, actually. I thought Martinelli appealed for it as he slipped onto the ball. Ended up on the floor and the referee just bought it. Declan Rice, brilliant again. I mean, his instinct to snap up any loose balls. It was a bit of a loose pass forwards, but he's the first to react and win it.
Kayusta was thundering towards that for Ipswich, and he saw Rice was going to get there first and quite wisely pulled out the tackle, because he would have got there late and he probably would have got booked if he'd gone for it.
Yeah, that's the last thing he needs at the moment. You think he's going to need a yellow card at some point. It's a little bit early on to pick it up.
Raya to Kivior, 12 minutes in at Portman Road. Commentary here on BBC Radio 5 Live, always available via the BBC Sounds app if you're on the move. Manchester United Wolves over on Sports Extra. Fulham Chelsea in full online for you this afternoon. Zinchenko, central midfield, poor pass forward. Davis intercepts, pokes it to Kayusta, chested down by Enciso, couldn't quite find Hurst. Good tackle by Enciso, robs Rice, and then holds Rice off, knocks him to the ground. Dummied as if to shoot, tried to slide a pass into Hurst. It didn't come off, and Arsenal quickly turned defence into attack. But Marino's turned back in his own half and plays back to Zinchenko. That was good football from Enciso, but look at this, dangerous for Ipswich again because Ødegaard, acres of space inside right channel, running at Ipswich defender. Saka on the outside, finds Ødegaard, couldn't control it. Trossard on the floor, oh, he's wriggled a shot through. There didn't seem space and there certainly didn't seem power in the strike, but he's caught out Alex Palmer. He's found the bottom corner and Arsenal have a lead they deserve at Portman Road. It's Ipswich 0, Arsenal 1.
Well, it just seemed like the chance was over, to be honest. I mean, Martin Ødegaard, he's picking up such intelligent positions on this pitch. He peels out to the right-hand side, picks up the ball, drives forward, feeds it wide to Saka. The cross comes in along the ground. You've got Ødegaard and Trossard along a similar line waiting for it. It comes to Trossard, he has the touch. Ipswich centre-backs do get out to the ball, but then they kind of stop and they allow a yard and a half of distance. Instead of just getting all the way out and dealing with the ball, he falls. As he's falling onto his backside, Trossard, he just swings his right foot at the ball and it trickles so slowly into the bottom corner. It's a bizarre goal, actually, to concede, but it's all about Ødegaard, that for me. You know, he's been finding space ever since the start of the game, and I do not think Kayusta and Morsi are going to be able to just contain that kind of movement this afternoon.
Looks like it's going to be a long afternoon for Ipswich Town. If they lose this game and Wolves avoid defeat at Old Trafford, it's currently Manchester United 0, Wolves 0, then Ipswich will be at least 15 points behind Wolves, 5 games to play. They could win them all, but they're 20 behind on goal difference. They will effectively be relegated this afternoon. You can see the goal again, Match of the Day 2, BBC 1 at 10:30 tonight. Matt's right, it was like slow motion. Everyone stopped for a second, but Trossard was still alive, and O'Shea, he just squirms the shot through O'Shea's legs, and he just closes them, just not in time.
But he stops O'Shea, doesn't he? You know, he's in the right position, and you think, keep going, and you allow a yard and a half of distance. Well, the better the player you play against, that yard and a half, or just half a yard, makes the difference, and he just allowed that shot to get past him when he was in a great position to actually get a block in.
8th goal of the season for Leandro Trossard. Coming into this game, it was only 3 in his last 30 appearances, but given the football coming up for Arsenal over the next couple of weeks, Champions League and Premier League, and sort of managing the schedule, he's going to be a really important player for Mikel Arteta. So Arsenal leading through the Trossard goal. Here's Raya, just outside his own penalty area to Saliba. Saliba goes to his right, White is hugging the touchline. Forward to Saka, quickly infield to Trossard, outside of his right foot, pushes a pass into the path of Zinchenko. Now on the left-hand side with Martinelli. Low ball infield to Trossard. This looks so easy for Arsenal at the moment. They don't seem to be under any pressure. Rice to Ødegaard. Ødegaard trying to slide one through the Ipswich defenders, and Palmer is onto it. In the WSL this afternoon, Manchester City playing Everton. It kicked off at 1 o'clock into the second half. Katie Smith.
City 1, Everton 1, a much more open second half. Everton launching some dangerous looking attacks down the left. City, though, should have had a penalty. Carolyn brought down in the box, clattered, beaten her mark. I don't know how that wasn't given. 1-1.
Leaders Chelsea play Crystal Palace on Wednesday. They lead the WSL by 3 points with a game in hand on Arsenal. Highlights of the WSL action follows Match of the Day 2 tonight on BBC 1. So 10:30 for Match of the Day 2, and then straight off the back of that, it's the women's football show. Zinchenko's waiting to take a throw here for Arsenal. Gets it back from Ødegaard, although Ben Johnson nipped in. Had it for a second for Ipswich, then he's lost it. Ben White chases a ball inside the Ipswich half, runs to it, and then just passes it immediately to Saka. Back to White, into Ødegaard. Again, Ødegaard, time to control, look for a pass. Here's Trossard, one dummy, hits the shot, always rising off target, and it's a goal kick for Ipswich. Have Ipswich got to get a bit tighter here, man?
Ipswich got to do something. You just said it's too easy, and you're absolutely spot on. I mean, it's far too easy for Arsenal. The distances are all wrong. They're always a yard or two off the player. So, you know, you give this team, this Arsenal team, that kind of space, you're going to end up in bother. And they've not really laid a glove yet, have they?
Not at all. Palmer, the goalkeeper, to Greaves. Left-hand side of the Ipswich penalty area, thumps it downfield. Hurst wants the physical battle with Saliba, leans into him. Saliba stands strong, sticks a toe on the ball, and it goes out for a throw into Ipswich on the left. So 18 minutes into the first half, Arsenal 1 up at Ipswich. Manchester United and Wolves goalless, as is Fulham Chelsea. And if Arsenal win this game, then Liverpool cannot win the title this afternoon. But we've got full commentary of Leicester-Liverpool with John Murray and Clinton Morrison at 4:30 on 5 Live this afternoon, followed by Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking your calls on 6:06. Saliba is pushed over. That'll be a free kick to Arsenal. I have an apology to make, actually, Matt. I listened to Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton together at Goodison Park yesterday, and commentator bought Summariser an Easter egg to say Happy Easter, and I say an Easter egg, a cream egg, and I've not done the same.
No,
so standards slipping.
I was expecting more.
I know, I'm sorry.
You know, you're right to set those high standards, but falling below them.
Falling below Deno standards is a problem, isn't it?
It's a big problem.
Raya's clearance downfield, spinning ball. Greaves heads it towards Ipswich's dead ball line and just gets there in time to get a left foot on it. Hoists it into the stands.
Is that Rob Nottingham there with the backup chocolate biscuits, though?
Well, I wouldn't even say backup,
but it's good alternative.
Yeah, they look delicious.
They do,
and I cannot wait for half time, which is about 25 minutes away. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 1. Leicester, of course, that's the other point to make. If Leicester don't beat Liverpool this afternoon, then Leicester will be relegated today. Here's Trossard on the dribble for Arsenal, looking for Saka. Still Trossard. Ipswich eventually smuggle it away. Goal at Craven Cottage. Sohail Sahi.
And it's gone to Fulham. Fulham 1, Chelsea 0. They won the ball back in midfield. Bundled Caicedo off the ball. They broke down the left. It was Sessegnon. He picked out Iwobi, crept into the penalty area. Low left-footed shot, arrowed past Robert Sanchez. A fine finish. Fulham 1, Chelsea 0.
Fulham win would take them 2 points above Bournemouth and up to 8th. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 1. Commentary of Fulham Chelsea continues online. Manchester United Wolves is on Sports Extra. Here's Zinchenko, chased by Morsey this time. Bit more pressure on Arsenal there.
Have you seen many more one-sided first 20 minutes of a Premier League match this season?
No.
I think this is incredibly one-sided. I mean, Ipswich they're getting around the pitch in terms of, you can tell there's an intent there, but they're just a yard off every time. And Arsenal, you know, we spoke about, is he going to rest players? At the moment, this game's just a lovely game for Arsenal. You know, the players can tick through the motions, get on the ball, do a little bit. They're not really under pressure at all.
Cayusta. Here's Jack Clark, barely mentioned his name in commentary. On the move for Ipswich, driving forward. Johnson in support on the right-hand side. Johnson's cross into the area, headed away by Kivior. Lobbed effort from Clark on the right foot volley, balloons it over the bar, and behind it goes for a goal kick. And that there was a sort of ironic cheer from the Arsenal fans. There is applause from the Ipswich fans. These Ipswich fans, Matt, they recognise what they are up against.
I appreciate that, and I think that is the difficult thing for Ipswich. But you know, the one element of making life difficult for a team, and when a team is in a good vein of form and is as confident as Arsenal, that is difficult, don't get me wrong, but this is just incredibly comfortable for Arsenal at the moment.
I thought you were going to go for the modern European expression of in a good moment rather than in good form. Here's Saka across to Martinelli, edge of the Ipswich area on the outside, shot driven with the left foot, blocked by Twansebi, and behind for the Arsenal corner.
Well, that's the one thing Twansebi has done really well for Ipswich this season. I think he sticks to task when he has a job as a defender. I think he's their best probably one-on-one defender at the club, and is up against Martinelli, who loves to drive with the ball, wants to get at the fullback. So it's a chance for Twansebi to really showcase his skills this afternoon.
Ipswich 0, Arsenal 1. Fulham leading Chelsea 1-0. Manchester United Wolves still goalless. And Manchester City 1, Everton 1 in the WSL. Another game in the WSL kicked off at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Tottenham Villa goalless after 25 minutes. Corner coming for Arsenal away to our left. Comes to the edge of the area from Rice to Zinchenko, back to Rice, first time ball, cross into the far post, and it's a flicked header out by Leif Davis. He was, by Dara O'Shea, I beg your pardon, it was almost clearing him, but decided he couldn't take a risk and nods it behind for the Arsenal corner.
I mean, these set pieces are such a strength of Arsenal. I was in Madrid midweek, and every time Arsenal had a corner, you thought this is a real threat for any team to have to defend, and you come to Ipswich, a team that you think would, you know, set piece wise, there's going to be a big part of their survival package being strong at set plays. Well, and it's being used a lot by teams that are going on to win or challenge for Premier League titles, and Arsenal set pieces at the moment are just at the top of their game.
Red and white shirts massed at the far post. Saliba right in the middle of the 6-yard box. Saka's delivery towards the far post, and Marino heads it over. And it was one of those where you could see Marino making ground towards the ball, and he met it sort of a fraction of a second too late, because by the time he got there, he couldn't quite keep it down on the angle to get it in. It was almost perfect.
Yeah, he's got the Gabriel run, hasn't he, Marino? He's been given that job, that start on the penalty spot and just spin out to the back. And as you're heading towards that back post, you've got real momentum as you're running. So if anyone's standing there to challenge you, you'll just batter them. You know, they can't compete. And Marino's such a good jumper, really competes for the ball well, just couldn't get over the top of the ball, like you said. I mean, I think he headed that probably about the height of the crossbar, didn't he? Couldn't get over the top of the ball.
Palmer's clearance for Ipswich from the goal kick, straight up the middle of the pitch to Hurst. Hurst has two Arsenal players to deal with. Declan Rice is in the mood, bit between his teeth, ball at his feet, running into the Ipswich half, then lays it off to Saka. Back it comes to Rice. Ødegaard is right there to his left. Ødegaard, a couple of touches with the twinkling toes, floated pass across to Martinelli, little cushion layoff to Zinchenko, his cross into the back post, Palmer stretches, gets a left hand on it, Jack Clarke is there, on the turn, clears for Ipswich, controlled by Enciso, who's fouled by Marino, and that will be a free kick for Ipswich. The Ipswich fans baying for a yellow card for Marino.
Has to be a yellow card. How can it not be a yellow card? I mean, I can understand why they're not happy with that. I mean, it's Marino, he's from behind Enciso, who's actually been probably the bright spark for Ipswich so far. Has really got hold of the ball a couple of times and done some nice things. He gets past Marino and he just grabs him, pulls him back, spins him back in the middle of the pitch, stops him progressing what could have been a promising attack. It's a yellow card, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree, Matt. I'm surprised. Here's Morsey, cross to Greaves, back to O'Shea. O'Shea quickly closed down by Trossard, hurried in his pass to Twansabi. Twansabi back to the goalkeeper, Palmer. Palmer takes his time, Trossard is close to him, and then sideways pass to Morsey. Arsenal are chasing, interested here. Rice gets a foot on it, nearly found Saka. Marino stretches, gets it back to Saka. Saka then tries to cross, scuffs that one, and Jack Clarke is able to run it out for Ipswich. Gets away from the sliding challenge of Marino, then he's tackled by Ben White. Suddenly Ødegaard is interested for Arsenal, running from right to left, 25 yards out, slides one through, looking for Trossard. Trossard couldn't quite get that under his spell, and then Morsey forward to Enciso for Ipswich. Enciso up against Rice, wants to take him on the outside. Rice's long legs eat up the ground. Enciso can't beat him. Rice wins it back.
I'll tell you, they've been impressive out of possession, Arsenal. Suffocating almost. Every time Ipswich have the ball, there's two or three red shots, then go and swarm it, and Ipswich just can't get that one or two passes off to build any sustained possession at all. And it is really good defensive play from Arsenal. They're just not allowing Ipswich to settle.
Leading 1-0, having dropped points, Arsenal, in 5 of their last 7 Premier League games, and only scored more than once in those 7 games. That is why they've fallen off the title pace this season. Now all about trying to win the Champions League and obviously qualifying for the Champions League next season. They finished second for the last 2 seasons, so they probably want to make it 3 in a row if they're not going to win the title. Started today 4 points ahead of Newcastle, heavily beaten at Aston Villa yesterday. Header up in the air by Johnson, chested down by Martinelli. Marino is in close support. Back to Kivior, all inside the Ipswich half. Rice calls for it, receives it, then Trossard, stumbling, gets his pass back to Saliba, and Saliba decides to go all the way back to Raya. I say all the way back, Raya's in the middle of the Ipswich half, wants to get involved in the game. In between the two centre-backs, Raya to Saliba. Ipswich have been drawn slightly further up the field here. White to Saliba again. Then Zinchenko, who's in central midfield now. He's moved across from that left-back position, opening up the space down the left for Kivior. He goes wide to Martinelli. On the halfway line, just beneath us, here's Ødegaard again. And Ipswich just chasing and chasing and chasing, but not really getting anywhere near winning possession off Arsenal. Next break in play will take you back to Old Trafford. Last we heard it was Manchester United 0, Wolves 0, with a much changed Manchester United team this afternoon. Here's Saliba, crossfield pass, Trossard stretches, controls, flicks it up in the air down the right to Saka. Trossard is caught off the ball. Saka goes zipping past Greaves. Marino's back heel, Martinelli's finish, and Arsenal have their second. They are comfortable. Martinelli, with his 50th career goal for Arsenal, makes it Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2.
Well, that's just too good. It's too good from Arsenal and it's too passive from Ipswich. They have to deal with it better. The distances are far too much. I mean, it's lovely play, really good control from Trossard. A ball lifted over the top for Saka, but Greaves, he just shows far too much of the line to Saka. He's out there one-on-one. No centre-back likes getting wide in that situation, but his positioning just says to Saka, go on, run me down the line, and Saka says, OK, thanks very much, I'll do that. Gets his arm across him, beats him to the ball, sees the square for Marino, who comes into the near post. He tries a cheeky little back flick with his right foot, but the ball then just spins kindly to the back post, and Martinelli, like every good wide player, once the ball's on the other side, you're making your way into that far post area for a tap-in, and that's exactly what he gets at the back stick.
Liverpool aren't going to be winning the title this afternoon. Certainly doesn't look like it. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Trossard's back on his feet. He was caught off the ball, but the referee played the advantage, and Arsenal have the second goal. Latest then from Old Trafford, Charlie Slater.
28 minutes on the clock. Manchester United 0, Wolves 0. This game in stark contrast to what we saw here on Thursday evening. Semedo with the only effort on goal for either side so far. That was 25 yards out, and it went 25 yards over. 0-0.
Thank you, Charlie. Commentary continues on that game over on Sports Extra. Fulham leading Chelsea 1-0. Header is won here by Hurst. It falls to Enciso. Hurst continues his run. He's into the Arsenal area. He's followed by Marino down to the byline here, and then Hurst goes to ground. Ipswich appeal for the free kick. They don't get it. Arsenal are giving the ball away. Jack Clarke on the dribble. Plenty of red and white shirts in front of him. Back it comes to Greaves. Ipswich work it back to O'Shea. 10 yards inside the Arsenal half. 15 minutes remaining in the first half, and things very much going according to plan for Mikel Arteta. Liverpool knowing 6 points gets them the title. If they get the win at Leicester this afternoon, then a win at home against Tottenham in the 4:30 Sunday kickoff next weekend will definitely clinch the title. Here's Jack Clarke, 25 yards from the Arsenal goal. Back to Twanzebe, former Manchester United man. Ben Johnson with the cross. Kivior sticks a left foot on that to block it. Martinelli plays it back to Zinchenko. Zinchenko drives a ball down the left-hand touchline for Arsenal. It goes straight out for a throw-in to Ipswich. And safe to say that we have commentary on Liverpool-Tottenham next week on BBC Radio 5 Live at 4:30. Kicks off at the same time, actually, as Nottingham Forest against Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final. One of the games will be on 5 Live. One of them will be on Sports Extra. Marino, clever little header down to Ødegaard. Greaves makes an important challenge for Ipswich. This is inside the Arsenal half. Ødegaard is down hurt. Arsenal fans definitely don't want to see that. And then Saka's caught late by Leif Davis. Saka leapt up in the air when he was caught. Looked like he had his sort of heel Achilles trodden on there. Writhing around on the floor at the moment. The sun's just come out at Portman Road and he's shaking his right hand, just to tell you quite how much pain he's in, Matt Upson.
Yeah, I mean, Ødegaard on the floor this side. Saka, whether it's a kick or a stamp or a rake of the studs on the Achilles. I mean, Ipswich have to do something. And Davis catches the heel of Saka as he's planted. He's passing the ball inside. It is pretty late, and it is a nasty one for Bukayo Saka, which is exactly what Arsenal don't want to see. I mean, he's still down, holding his right knee, and his reaction of waving of the hand, is never good. And I think it is more of a stamp onto the back of the Achilles, but he's nowhere near the ball, and it's horrible, actually.
Yeah, nowhere near the ball is right, Matt. He just sticks his left leg on the back of Saka's right leg with force. I heard a big roar from the Arsenal fans there, which made me think, oh, it's a red card. Leif Davis is off. And that's probably what the big roar was about. I didn't actually see that happen at the time.
I didn't see the red card come out. I was looking at the replay. There's a melee of players. I'm looking at Saka on the floor. Ødegaard, it was a lot going on. But you heard the roar, which sounded like a red card. And I can totally understand why, to be honest. I mean, if you break the tackle down, it's so intentional.
Yeah.
And there's one thing getting stuck in, getting tight. You might boot someone, you might, but it has to be done in that competitive way. That was actually just really poor, because you've hurt a player and you've not actually made any attempt to go anywhere near the ball.
Ipswich Town fans applauding Leif Davis from the field. They feel a sense of injustice. Leif Davis is actually apologising to them. If they've seen the challenge, I think they probably have to agree with us and agree with the referee that it was a red card. Do you know what, though, Matt? Arsenal fans won't be bothered about this in terms of the game. All they're bothered about is that man Saka, and because if they're going to win the Champions League this season, he has to be fit,
and rightly so. That's what they should be worried about. I mean, I will say he's very robust, and it looked like a challenge, one of those that hurts, but it is a kick and a stamp. And you'd like to think the only thing is that the position that his foot is placed when he puts his studs into the turf, his foot is a little bit turned out, and whether or not it just tweaks an ankle or if anything, that's like a 2 or 3 week ankle ligament situation. That's your worst case scenario. He's back up on his feet, and he's used to getting kicked, I will say. Ali, I mean, every game he uses his body, he puts it between defender and ball all the time, and generally does get a good old whacking.
Matt Upson with us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Arsenal leading 2-0. Saka is back on his feet. And this is the thing as well, Matt. He's just back from injury. They're trying to get him up to speed. You don't want him playing no football before the Champions League semi-final, but that is always the risk, something like that.
But honestly, they're absolutely right to play. He needs the match minutes. He wants the match minutes. The manager wants to play him. Arsenal players want him in the team. Arsenal fans want to see him in the team. So play. And do you know what? I don't think you can go into any situation even thinking about that. You can get hurt in training tomorrow. It's football. It's contact sports. I think you overcomplicate it if you start to think, oh, this game, that game. You just go and play and enjoy it. And if you tackle properly and you play properly, you get less chance of getting hurt.
Saka slowly trying to get back up to speed. The ball is nowhere near him at the moment. Ipswich fans booing Arsenal possession. They feel hard done by. They've made a change as well. Cameron Burgess has come on for Jack Clark. So that is the Ipswich reshuffle. They're down to 10 men. They are 2-0 down, and they are staring relegation in the face. Here's Martin Ødegaard. Sorry, Matt.
From our perspective, I'm more worried about what it's going to do to this game.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's like they've been playing with a man extra anyway, Arsenal. So, I mean, how this is going to go for Ipswich now, I've got no clue.
They're going to keep an eye on Saka as well, as will Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal medical team. The ball is with Ødegaard. Saka's not moving totally freely here, looking for space on the right. Ben White is there. Then there's a little burst of pace from Saka. Gets the ball, getting booed now by the Ipswich fans. Curling shot. Oh, wow, that would have been a response, wouldn't it? Just wide of the target and behind for the goal kick. So thankfully for Arsenal fans, Saka looks okay. Let's see how he recovers after the game as well. Let's see how long Mikel Arteta leaves him out there. So Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Ipswich down to 10 men. Leif Davis sent off. Manchester United Wolves latest. Charlie Slater.
Still 0-0. Christian Eriksen's just had a free kick from 30 yards out, which drew the save out of the goalkeeper, Dan Bentley. They've got another free kick a couple yards closer to the edge of that box now. Garnacho going down 0-0. 35 minutes gone.
Goal kick for Ipswich. 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Palmer drives it into the breeze here. It holds up in the air. Hurst jumps, wins the flick on. Zinchenko clears into the Ipswich half. O'Shea with the header away. It bounces in front of Enciso. Zinchenko again doing a good job for Arsenal. Rice is there to take control. Side foots a pass back to David Raya, who looks like he's going to have a somnolent afternoon.
Yeah. But looking a very assured goalkeeper at the moment. I would say, a lot of heat around that decision, and initially with Ramsdale and David Raya, and how that played out for Mikel Arteta, who I don't think helped the situation by how it came about, but you have to say that's been a very shrewd move from Arsenal.
Here's Ben White back to Rice. 8 minutes left in the first half. Ipswich now trying to plug the gaps, but they're a man down. Saka again when he's off the ball, just he was caught on the right leg, and you can just see him sort of leaping in the air and trying to take the pressure off it. Saka's in here. Oh, and he's hit it wide with his left foot, face down in the turf. You don't often see Bukayo Saka miss those. Ipswich fans enjoyed that little moment, but Ipswich again pulled apart. It should have been Arsenal 3-0.
Yeah, he's laughing, Saka. He's just smiling, and he's having a little chuckle to himself because he just took a little bit too long. It was almost too easy. It was gaping for him, the goal, just to slot it. It's really poor from Ipswich again. It's one of those where you've got all those bodies in and around the box, and 3 people get drawn into the same ball. And the speed and the thought that these Arsenal players have, and the vision they have, they just pop it one touch. Saka ran into the space completely free, even though there's 5 blue shirts in and around the box. Nobody locks in with him, and it should be in the back of the net.
10 yards out, goalkeeper to beat, sat up beautifully, and Saka couldn't quite deliver the finish. Ipswich's throw down the right, Kivior intercepts another Ipswich throw.
I mean, are they going with a back three at the moment? Ipswich, you've got Burgess who's come on, hasn't he? In the centre-back position.
Which has moved Greaves slightly to the left.
To the left, and O'Shea, and then you've got Johnson dropping all the way back in. It looks like Twanzebe on the right side as well. I mean, it's a mess for Ipswich at the moment. It's hard to actually see what they're doing.
I think Arsenal could help themselves to a few more goals this afternoon. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Palmer almost showed too much of that to Martinelli. Could only squirt it out of play for a throw-in to Arsenal, taken quickly by Martinelli. So Trossard scored in the 14th minute, Martinelli in the 28th, and Leif Davis, if you're just tuning in, Ipswich's left back, straight red card for raking his studs down the back of Bukayo Saka's right leg. Saka is still out there for Arsenal and should have just made it 3-0. Here's Ødegaard, back to Rice. Thought Rice was going to try and curl one in from the edge of the box first time there. Now Saka to Rice, short pass, sets off looking for the 1-2. It's back with Ødegaard. Ipswich have everyone bar Hurst behind the ball. Crossing easily caught by Ipswich's keeper Alex Palmer, who falls on it and will take as much time as he can. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Manchester United and Wolves goalless, and Fulham leading Chelsea 1-0 with full commentary of Leicester-Liverpool to come. Arsenal hungry to win the ball back. Ødegaard going on the outside this time, down the right, cleared by Burgess. Another throw for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for the midfield of Ipswich. They're just not getting to grips with this game at all, and it's now been made even harder. Every time they get the ball, they're so under pressure, and they've got no pass to offload it.
Here's Ben White, cut back from the right, headed away by Twanzebe. Not far though. Ødegaard nods it down to Martinelli. Saka getting roundly booed, ridiculously booed really, every time he touches the ball. He basically got terrible challenge. I mean, it's football, isn't it, man? I get it. Yeah. I get it. Whatever happens there, Ipswich are never going to see the wrong in Leif Davis.
He is out of order. He got kicked, didn't he?
He's almost had his season ended. Good. I wonder whether he'll come back out for the second half, actually, Matt. What Arteta... I guess he has a word with him at half-time.
Yeah, I think it'll just be assessed. He's back on his feet. He appears to be okay. You know, I think it was one of those things. It was Ipswich trying to then step up the levels of being competitive, but in the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all for a bit of rough and tumble and getting stuck in, but that was just a poorly judged challenge from Leif Davis.
Palmer's clearance for Ipswich, their keeper with his right foot. Saliba's header forward, then Zinchenko. Twanzebe nods it back into the Arsenal half. Rice cushions a little header down to Zinchenko, goes back to Kivior, and Enciso is chasing, waving teammates up with him. Some of those Ipswich players, I think, conserving a little bit of energy for challenges to come. So as they line up at the moment, you've got sort of Greaves wide left, Burgess, O'Shea, Twanzebe as sort of three centre-backs, and Ben Johnson. I mean, it's all hands to the pump, isn't it?
Yeah, and the trouble is, in doing that, you're leaving the midfield absolutely stranded, if I'm honest. Enciso's trying to drop in and help out with Morsey and Kiyusta, but they're not going to be able to get to grips with what this fluid Arsenal team is offering.
Saka on the ball, you heard the boos again. Ben White's going to hit one, closed down by Kiyusta. It falls to Ødegaard just inside the Ipswich area. Saka makes the run and crosses straight at Palmer, who gathers that at the near post. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2.
Well, he's not having to break a canter, really, is he, Saka? I mean, he's jogging around the pitch. His movement has been okay. It's more the understanding, the popping up in positions and taking positions. It's been a stroll for Arsenal so far, which is your ideal game after a midweek fixture that they had.
And Matt, their next Premier League game is Wednesday night against the Crystal Palace team, who will be getting ready for an FA Cup semi-final a few days later. I'm not saying that's going to be a stroll, but again, it's an opponent who've got something else on their mind.
And again, another team that their last away performance, they conceded 5. So, you know, it's been a funny week for Palace, but you're right, they've got a big game coming up.
Yeah, we've got full commentary on Palace Villa next Saturday. First FA Cup semi-final kicks off at 5:15. Plenty more football tomorrow afternoon as well. We're going around the grounds in the EFL with Aaron Paul in the hot seat. Our coverage starts at 2:30. Both Burnley and Leeds could get promoted from the Championship tomorrow. Here's Rice, cross to Ødegaard. Ødegaard sees Trossard, one touch for Trossard. Cut back to Saka with his right foot, and he's wide of the target again. and the Ipswich fans give him plenty of stick again. It remains Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2.
Well, they're creating chance after chance at will, really. This time Kiyusta takes a chance trying to pressure the ball in midfield. Odegaard goes past him. They get it wide, and from this Arsenal's right-hand side, they've just created so many opportunities from balls coming back in across to the penalty spot or along that 6-yard box line, and it's Saka again who finds the space with his right foot, just doesn't connect with the ball well enough.
Just in terms of the red card and how it all came about, you heard that roar from the Arsenal fans. That was for the red card shown immediately by the referee, Chris Kavanagh. It was then checked and confirmed by VAR. They just wanted to be sure, basically. He got the call right. The challenge was deemed to be endangering the safety of an opponent.
It was quite, he took his time, didn't he, the referee, in delivering that. It wasn't an instant run over, that was an obvious red card.
A brandish.
No, it wasn't brandished. It was just, I'll have a think about it, which is why it was hard to notice, but I think he's arrived at the right place.
I agree.
To be honest.
Brandished is one of the words that has gone into the great glossary of football commentary, which is a feature on the Commentators View podcast.
It's not the European term, is it?
That one's not European. In a Good Moment, I think, is the European one. I'm not sure whether that's gone in the glossary. Anyway, that podcast is out every Friday afternoon. Latest episode is there for you on BBC Sounds. We had some correspondence this week. One listener who got particularly annoyed about drop zone rather than relegation zone. And I have to say I agree. Relegation zone I like. Drop zone I don't. George Hurst dragged back by Declan Rice, and the referee goes with the Ipswich fans this time and gives Ipswich the free kick. We are approaching added time at the end of the first half. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2, but Ipswich are in the relegation zone at the moment.
Drop zone or relegation zone. It ain't the zone you want to be in.
And they're not getting out of it.
And that cheer for a foul around the halfway line for Ipswich is probably the biggest cheer Ipswich fans have had of the half, which says everything.
2 more home games for them this season. Brentford and then West Ham on the last day of the season. Morsey's going to take the free kick. Floats it over the top. Hurst with a little header. Support from Burgess there. He's caught Marino as he tried to control that bouncing ball. And that will be a free kick for Arsenal. And in terms of those 3 teams at the bottom, Matt, cut way adrift, Ipswich have only had 1 home win this season. It came against Chelsea right at the end of December. When they won that game, I was looking back at this, I think they were a point behind Wolves and 2 points behind Everton. Since then, 1 win in their last 13 Premier League games. Like all of them down there, they've just not been able to put any run of wins and draws together at all.
They had a rough start to the season, didn't they, with City, Liverpool, got beat by FC Wimbledon, first round of the League Cup, and then I think it was 4 draws on the bounce, and there was kind of green shoots of, OK, we're getting used to the Premier League and we're figuring it out, but they, like you say, they haven't managed to get anywhere near enough wins, and only 4 wins in the Premier League. You're going to struggle, aren't you? 4
wins all season, 3 of them away from home. The only home win, that one I mentioned, against Chelsea. Here's Odegaard on the ball for Arsenal. They're hungry for more goals. Already over the 100 mark for the season in all competitions. Started today on 99, so that's ticked over to 101. Here's Kivior across to Saliba. This is a training ground exercise at the moment. Saka getting booed as he receives the ball from White. White to Trossard. Red and white shirts just popping up in space all the time here. They have the man advantage. Leif Davis sent off for Ipswich. You know who on the ball again. Has had 2 great chances to score. Saka not been able to do it. You know that reaction's not going to fluster him in the slightest. He's faced far worse than that. Here's Saliba to Zinchenko. Arsenal fans now responding with the Olays. Every pass they put together. Zinchenko, little touch inside the Ipswich area. Back to Marino. Marino to Kivior, and Ciso in with the challenge. Referee says that's okay. And Ciso picks himself up, tries to bring the ball away down the right. Marino wins it for Arsenal. Morsey goes chasing for Ipswich. Martinelli, little 1-2 with Marino. Marino couldn't control that. Back to Palmer. And Palmer swings a right leg at that and clears it away for Ipswich. Down the right-hand side, Kivior and Ciso wrestling for that ball. And then Hurst comes charging through the back of Kivior. And that will be a free kick for Arsenal. They lead Ipswich 2-0.
Yeah, it's not the first time Hurst has barged someone to the floor in this game. And I think in Ciso, for me, he's been the best Ipswich player in the first half. I think he's had a little bit about him. He's got some energy. He's having a fight and a scrap for the ball. He's done some good things on the ball.
Here's White on the right, crossing to the near post. Sliding block by O'Shea. Trossard was looking for a second goal of the afternoon. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Half-time details on the way from Old Trafford and Craven Cottage. Commentary on all 3 games this afternoon on the BBC networks. Here's Erdegaard chesting a ball down. I thought he was going to hit that corner of the area. Goes for the dribble, stopped in his tracks. Morsey prods it then to Cayusta. Cayusta just didn't see an option there other than to try and bring it out himself, and eventually wins the throw for Ipswich on the left.
Yeah, there wasn't an option, was there? I think that's the difficult bit. You've then got to do a little bit of something on the ball with 3 or 4 Arsenal shirts pressurising you. You're in the middle of midfield. You've got to turn out, go past someone, take someone on in order to then get your pass off. And it's never going to build momentum for Ipswich, but it's very good pressure from Arsenal in the same breath.
Full commentary of Leicester-Liverpool to follow at 4:30 on 5 Live. If Leicester don't win the game, they will be relegated this afternoon. And I think the narrative from the Liverpool point of view is going to be 2 wins from the title. Win at Leicester this afternoon, then they can win their 20th top-flight title at home against Tottenham next weekend, which I think deep down, actually, Liverpool fans, particularly given the fact that the title they won under Jurgen Klopp in 2019-2020 was not in front of the supporters, will mean a great deal to them. So Leicester-Liverpool to follow. All the Premier League action rounded up in the Football Daily podcast, which will be there for you on the BBC Sounds app, our Premier League review edition, Sunday night, Monday morning. Saka's chasing a ball down the right, can't quite get there in time. The Ipswich fans roar their delight as the ball just dribbles behind for a goal kick to Ipswich. It's Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2.
I mean, Ipswich's left-hand side has been so badly exploited in this first half, though, I will say. Every time Saka is either pulling wide, he's making a darting run in behind, he's showing to feet for the ball, he's playing 1-2s, and it's all done probably at about 75% of his capacity at the moment. He's been that much in control for Arsenal.
Merciful release for Ipswich, down to 10 men. The half-time whistle blows. A lot of work for them to do in the second half. As things stand, with Manchester United and Wolves level, if Ipswich lose this game, they will effectively be relegated today because their goal difference is so inferior. It has been an absolute cruise for Arsenal. Matt Upson, the goals from Trossard and Martinelli, and no argument about the red card for Leif Davis.
No, I think the referee's got that right. It was a dangerous challenge. OK, you know, it hasn't caused serious harm, but it was just horrible. A stamp on the back of the Achilles in that kind of position's not nice. But, I mean, I rarely say that a game is over at half-time, but this feels like it's over, unless there's going to be some swashbuckling performance from Ipswich in the second half. Yeah, I can't see it.
But we promise to keep it entertaining,
yes,
don't we?
No, absolutely. Well, you will always. Just with your presence.
Half-time at Portman Road, Steve. This is only going one way. I think the second half, basically, Steve, is whatever Arsenal want to do with it. Ipswich down to 10, Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2.
We'll be back with you two in just a second. There's a couple of great England sporting captains of the 90s not enjoying themselves this afternoon. Not just Terry Butcher at Portman Road. Alex Stewart at Craven Cottage, Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, very much, Steve. It's half-time here. Fulham 1, Chelsea 0, and Fulham, they deserve their lead. Alex Iwobi with the precise finish after Reece James. He lost possession in midfield by Sessegnon, who was harassing him. Sessegnon then picked out Iwobi, who drove in the opening goal. Fulham, they've been sharper, slicker and smarter than Chelsea, who are in disarray. And Steve, the more you watch Cole Palmer in this Chelsea side, the more you see a frustrated footballer. Arms in the air when attacks break down, and plenty of disagreement with his fellow players. Half-time here at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham 1, Chelsea 0.
There were rumours that Rory McIlroy was going to be at Old Trafford this afternoon. Looks like he made the right decision, Charlie Slater.
Yeah, that might have lifted the mood somewhat. You mentioned there's former England internationals who aren't enjoying their afternoon. There might be some former internationals here who aren't enjoying their afternoon as well, but that's just because the game has been so flat. There was always a chance that this could be a bit of a come down after Thursday night, so it proved. We didn't have a single shot until the 22nd minute when Semedo fired well over for Wolves from 25 yards. It probably took Man United the best part of half an hour to shake off Thursday's hangover. When they finally did, Eriksson had a free kick saved, and Mainu almost scored a very similar goal to the one that he did on Thursday night, this one from even further out, instead curling it just wide. Man United ending the first half on top, but neither side able to find a breakthrough. 0-0.
Matt Upson, I think for the benefit of Arsenal fans, I know no player is ever 100% fit, they always say, but if Bukayo Saka was 100% at the start of the game, how does he look now, having gone down for a while?
Yeah, well, do you know what, Steve? It's been played probably a bit of a stroll for him, so it's quite hard to tell. I mean, he's not hobbling and he's moving well enough, but he's only moving at the capacity that he needs to, and unfortunately for Ipswich, it isn't that intense at the moment because it's just been so comfortable for Arsenal. But there was a moment where, as he went down, you know when a player waves his hand in the air and bangs the turf a little bit? It looked like, oh, this could be bad, because his ankle was just at a slight angle when the stamp came in, and it's never nice to have that kind of rake down the Achilles and on the back of the ankle. But when your foot's planted in a vulnerable position, and I think that was the deciding factor for the referee and when VAR looked at it, is that he was in a vulnerable position when that stamp and that force came down, that he could have done something a little bit worse, but he appears to be okay.
You'll have heard just before we handed to you for commentary, Nader Manua and I were kind of discussing whether or not, as another option, a more traditional number 9 might be a good thing for Arsenal. You made sort of an audible gasp when Mikel Merino, who's showing again that he can do that job, flicked the ball on for the opening goal. Yeah,
I mean, it was in a great position. It was an instinctive number 9 position, making that run to the near post. And again, from Martinelli's perspective, if Saka's on that right-hand side and he's making headway, which he has done all the time, he's arriving at the back post for that exact occasion. So for Arsenal, that little attacking moment went well. And players who, i.e. Merino, are playing I say unfamiliar position, a position that people think that isn't his role, it's now starting to look more and more like his role, and I think that's a credit to the player and the coaching staff.
And Ali, more importantly than all of this, because I've been doing a bit of crowd watching, as you'll have noticed, I also saw a man in the crowd who, in my first Premier League sticker book, 93-94, I had about 50 of him. Can you guess who it was, given it's your part of the world?
93-94. So it's got to be an Ipswich player if you're throwing it to me.
I wouldn't say it was that season's Liam Delap. Maybe that season's George Hurst.
That season's George Hurst. Oh, I'm not going to get it, Stephen.
Chris
I should
Kiwomya.
be getting it. Oh, Chris Kiwomya.
About
good
30
shout.
Chris Kiwomya. He's probably still got a couple if you need them.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely swap you. Yes, please.
Right, thanks, you two. We'll be back for second half commentary. Full-time whistles just gone in the WSL at Manchester City. Katie Smith.
Yeah, Manchester City 1, Everton 1. Frustration for City. It was a frustrating watch as well at times. They controlled possession. Nice moments of build-up play. No killer end product though. Kasparov with the opener after 13 minutes. Cancelled out by a lovely header from Karen Holmgaard. So Champions League football next season slipping from the fingertips of injury hit City. 7 points back now. So basically Manchester United need one more win of their 3 games to go, and that third spot will be theirs. It ends here 1-1.
Yeah, and Arsenal almost guaranteed it as well now. 9 points ahead of Manchester City, 3 games to go. But Arsenal's goal difference is 40 and City's is 17. So René Slegger's side can almost start celebrating that. Of course, they've got the second leg with Lyon in the semi-final of this season's competition to come as well. We'll be at Hampden ahead of the second Scottish Cup semi-final. More World Championship snooker, and we'll be at Leicester for the first time today. Remember, Liverpool, the visitors there. Full commentary at 4:30. So we'll speak to correspondent John Murray. We'll do all of that after the news on 5 Live with John Barnes.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you. Ukraine and Russia have accused each other of breaking a truce, which was supposed to mean there would be no fighting this Easter Sunday. President Zelensky has said that Russia has been shelling the front line, and Russia has accused Kyiv of drone strikes. Viktor Truabov, a military spokesman for Ukraine's Eastern Front, said he had no faith in Moscow's words.
Frankly speaking, we did not hope for a real ceasefire. We do not count on what Russia says, but what Russia does with its hands. Their hands usually do harm, and they continue to do so. They probably did it with less intensity for a few hours, but we keep our expectations low.
It's been confirmed that British fighter jets twice intercepted Russian aircraft over the Baltic Sea on separate occasions earlier this week. 2 RAF Typhoons were scrambled on Tuesday when a Russian intelligence aircraft was flying over the Baltic Sea, and the other 2 were sent to monitor an unknown aircraft leaving Kaliningrad airspace on Thursday. The Pope has delivered a message to crowds gathered at the Vatican for the traditional Easter Sunday Mass. Pope Francis, who's 88, recently spent a month in hospital with pneumonia. He spoke briefly, wishing everyone a happy Easter.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buona Pasqua.
The Earlier, the Pope met the US Vice President J.D. Vance, who converted to the Catholic faith 6 years ago. The Pope has been critical of some of the Trump administration's policies. And the King and Queen were joined by Prince Andrew and other members of the royal family at the Easter service at Windsor Castle.
Imagine you're running to catch the last train, but it leaves in 5 minutes. And you're lost, and you don't have a phone, and everyone only speaks Mandarin. Goodbye, comfort zone. Race Across the World is back. Starts Wednesday on BBC iPlayer.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Here on 5 Live, second half commentary from Portman Road on the way. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2 at the break. Ipswich have had Leif Davis sent off for a really nasty looking challenge on Bukayo Saka. On 5 Sports Extra, you'll be able to hear the second half of Manchester United Wolves. It's goalless there. The other 2 o'clock kickoff, Fulham 1, Chelsea 0. That one's on the BBC Sport website. We'll be at the King Power Stadium shortly ahead of Liverpool at Leicester. 2 games in the WSL this afternoon. Just finished Manchester City 1, Everton 1, so that's bad news for City really from a Champions League qualification perspective. Elsewhere it is Spurs 0, Aston Villa 1. That one's at half-time. Mark Williams in first round action at the World Snooker Championship in Sheffield. Jamie Broughton's at the Crucible.
And the 3-time world champion Mark Williams is taking on the exciting young Chinese star Wu Yize. Williams resumed this afternoon leading by 5 frames to 4, but Wu has just taken the opening frame with 2 breaks of 30 to level proceedings at 5 all. Meanwhile, on the other table, the 2-time Crucible semi-finalist Mark Allen is playing Fan Jung Yi. Fan took the first frame with a 61 break. 10 is the target for victory and a place in the second round.
Thank you very much. Let's get an update from the County Championship cricket, shall we? Kevin Howells is at day 3 of Durham, Yorkshire.
Indeed I am. Beautiful weather, delighted to say. Yorkshire 5 for no wicket in their second innings. That's a deficit of 115 runs. Made good use of the second new ball, though, did Yorkshire in that Durham first innings. All out, the home side for 427. A lead, though, for Durham could be interesting. 120 in front. Alex Lees, 172. Emilio Gay, 152. Some other headlines from the other Division 1 matches. England's Ollie Pope, first century of the summer for Surrey, made 103 away to Sussex. Surrey are 280 for 3. They trail by 155 runs. Worcestershire chasing 295 to beat Essex at Chelmsford, 56 for 3. Notts all out 367 versus Warwickshire. First innings lead at 274 in Birmingham. And finally Somerset's second innings, they are currently 50 for no wicket. They trail Hampshire by 102 runs.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I always bang on about this, but it is so good. Every ball of every county championship game available on the BBC Sport website and app. At 3 in rugby union, so just getting underway now. Bristol Bears, Leicester Tigers in the Premiership Women's Six Nations. Wales versus Ireland is just getting underway as well. The second half of that will be on 5 Sports Extra. You can watch the game in full on iPlayer. In Rugby League's Women's Challenge Cup, London Broncos beat Barrow 22-14. Aberdeen booked their place in the Scottish Cup final yesterday with a 118th minute winner against 9-man Hearts. Today at Hampden, St Johnstone Celtic underway. Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, just started, Steve. 0-0 at the moment. The 2-time winners St Johnstone have started Sven Sprangler and Nicky Clark as Simo Valakari short of fit defenders. Clark up top with Sidibe. The 42-time winners Celtic, though, start the same team that destroyed Kilmarnock last week. So Scales, Taylor, Forrest and Ida all start. Brendan Rodgers looking to keep his 100% record at Hampden. He's played 14, won 14, but will very much remember a couple of weeks ago the dress rehearsal in Perth. The sun is shining, the sky is nice and blue. Let's see what we get this afternoon drama-wise at Hampden.
Our 4:30 commentary from the Premier League this afternoon comes from the King Power Stadium. Leicester versus Liverpool. Correspondent John Murray there. Good afternoon, John.
Hello, Steve, and happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you, yeah. Ellen White, you missed out. Ellen White brought us coffee and Easter eggs earlier.
Did she?
And Ian Dennis brought an Easter egg. What have you got for Clinton Morrison, actually?
Ian Dennis brought an Easter egg.
He did yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I feel inadequate.
For the first time ever.
Yeah, well.
Leicester City have been a bit of that this season, haven't they? There we go. Might well be confirmed.
That was the obvious link there. Yeah, they have. Coming here today, obviously, there was a possibility of two things happening. That it might well have been that Liverpool would be able to confirm the Premier League title, but I think with what's happening at Portman Road, listening to Ali and Matt at the end of that match, I think it sounds highly unlikely that Ipswich are going to turn that around. But the other thing that could happen today is that unless Leicester City win this match today against the team at the top of the Premier League, then Leicester City's relegation will be confirmed today. And Liverpool coming here, Leicester are, as probably everyone knows, the most accommodating of hosts possible, having lost their last 8 home matches without scoring a single goal, which is a new English league record. And yes, they did score a couple away from home at Brighton last weekend, and actually showed a bit of spirit as well, coming from a goal down twice to draw 2-2. But I'm not sure there'll be many people inside this stadium here today that are thinking this is going to be anything other than an away win.
Atmosphere is going to be very interesting because we'll be back at Ipswich very, very shortly, where you know, I think they expected roughly where they are, very different for Leicester City fans. Yeah, and it's been such an unhappy season after the promotion last season, and I know that there are protests planned here today, so we're going to keep our wits about us and keep our eyes about the place to see what the mood is and what happens. And likewise with Liverpool, you'll be there next Sunday, won't you, at Anfield, John, for Tottenham?
In actual fact, this time next week, and I think it's a bit of a shame, actually, that the second FA Cup semi-final, which I think is a real prospect, Nottingham Forest against Manchester City, kicks off at exactly the same time as Liverpool against Tottenham, which looks as though, depending on what happens between Arsenal and Crystal Palace on Wednesday as well, that's part of the equation, that those two matches kick off at exactly the same time. So in actual fact, this time next week I'll be at Wembley.
Well, I'll be at Anfield, so we will dovetail seamlessly.
So we'll have it covered then.
Lovely. Thank you very much, John. Absolutely we will. And I'm sure, listen, Liverpool fans listening to this, I think deep down they will be absolutely happy that they will get the chance to win it on their own merit, depending on what happens to Arsenal against Crystal Palace in midweek. Liverpool versus Tottenham next Sunday, same day as that FA Cup semi-final, same time. So what a day that will be. Right, let's get second half commentary then. Remember, you've got a choice of listening. Fulham leading Chelsea by 1-0. BBC Sport website and app for that one. Manchester United Wolves 0-0. That one is on 5 Sports Extra. Teams on their way back out at Portman Road. 10-man Ipswich 0. Arsenal 2. Matt Upson's with Ali Bruceport.
Bukayo Saka back out there for Arsenal, the subject of a crude challenge by Leif Davis of Ipswich Town in the first half. But Saka is back. Mikel Arteta making no changes at half-time. Matt Upson, Ipswich are making a change. Julio Enciso, you felt was Ipswich's best player in the first half. He's coming off at half-time. Jack Taylor is coming on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I'm just waiting to see how Ipswich is going to shape up to tackle this 45 minutes, which could be really, really challenging. I'm sure that will include a tactical shift, whether or not they'll go with a 4, because they kind of dropped to a back 5, didn't they, with Ben Johnson in the right wing back, and I think Greaves went all the way out to like the left wing back position once the red card had happened. It looks like it's going to be that same back 5 setup.
Yeah.
And maybe in terms of the midfield, we were talking about half-time, just tightening up the centre of the pitch a little bit, which Enciso is obviously a much more attacking-minded player, isn't he?
Damage limitation for Ipswich. Their relegation won't be confirmed today, but as I said at the end of the first half, if they lose this game and Wolves avoid defeat at Old Trafford, then Ipswich will be 15 points behind with 15 points to play for, but Wolves' goal difference is 20 better than Ipswich is, so it's looking grim. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Second half is underway. Arsenal in the red and white kit, playing from left to right in the second half, leading by 2-0. Bukayo Saka licking his lips probably at the prospect of running at Jacob Greaves, centre-back by trade, in the second half. Ødegaard gliding forward, rolls it across to Zinchenko, quickly out to Martinelli on the left. He fancies a little run at Ben Johnson. Back it comes to Zinchenko. We are going to be doing a lot of this sort of description throughout the next 45 minutes here on 5 Live. Martinelli to Zinchenko. Here's Marino trying to get onto one. at the near post, tackled by O'Shea. It's gone behind for an Arsenal corner. Quickly to Craven Cottage, Sahel Sahi.
We've played 51 minutes now here. Alistair, still Fulham 1, Chelsea 0, but Enzo Maresco's not waiting around, the Chelsea manager. He made 2 changes at half-time, bringing off Reece James and Noni Madueke for Jadon Sancho and Malo Gusto. Fulham 1, Chelsea 0.
Manchester City 1, Everton 1, full-time score in the WSL this afternoon. The other game in the WSL into the second half. Villa are 1-up at Tottenham. St Johnstone Celtic underway in the second Scottish Cup semi-final. We'll take you to Old Trafford shortly. Let's see what Arsenal can do with the corner. Leading 2-0. Declan Rice takes it in front of the Arsenal fans, rolls it short here to Ødegaard, now to Zinchenko, edge of the Ipswich area, back to Rice, quick touch, then Ødegaard, in behind the Ipswich defenders, drives the cross into the near post, blocked by Palmer, and behind for another corner. Marino's flattening his back inside the 6-yard box, so he might have been caught there as Arsenal look to score a third. I think they're going to take this corner quickly, so we'll hold off on our visit to Old Trafford. We heard from John Murray at half-time as well, full commentary to come of Leicester-Liverpool. Kicks off at half-4. Zinchenko across to Trossard, central position, 25 yards out. Saka thought about the first-time hit, decided against that, whips the pass across to Zinchenko, dummies across, plays it to Rice on the left for Arsenal. Every Ipswich player pretty much in their own penalty area. Martinelli gets in round the back, another cross in, blocked by Twansebi. Another Arsenal corner quickly to Old Trafford. Charlie Slater.
51 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, Wolves 0. United starting the second half. How they picked up at the end of the first half. 3 corner kicks already, and Eriksen's whipped a devilish ball into the box, but they still haven't been able to find a breakthrough yet. It's goalless.
Martinelli's shot on the turn, blocked at close range. Still Arsenal come again, leading 2-0. Zinchenko slides in Martinelli, cut back looking for Ødegaard. Greaves is able to block with his left foot. Morsey brings it away for Ipswich, the Egyptian international, chased by Martinelli. Back it comes to Twansebi, now to O'Shea. Across to Alex Palmer, Ipswich's keeper inside his 6-yard box. Calmly passes it straight up the field here to Kayusta. And Ipswich can breathe. Matt Upson.
I mean, why this performance has been so ruthless from Arsenal. Their application has been top. It's the same now, playing against 10 men, 2-0 up, as when it was in the Bernabeu on Wednesday. That's the sign of a team that respects the manager, that are together, that have really high standards, because Arsenal have not dropped off it at all, and it would be easy for them now to drop off, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just go, okay. Martinelli lost that ball there. He sprinted 20 yards to get back and put pressure on it. Even that he knows Morsey's not going anywhere. He's not even got a pass. There's barely a centre forward or a player available to receive the ball, but the way they're applying themselves is a mindset of a team that wants to achieve something.
4 minutes into the second half, Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. I would say 99.9% possession for Arsenal in the early stages of the second half. So you said top, Matt. Would you say top, but not top? So that was another one we got into the conversation about. On
What's
the
that? Oh,
as in top is another level.
Top player.
Yeah, top player or top player, and whether that goes in the glossary. And John Murray
it's
argues,
like you're going out or you're going out.
Yes, John Murray argues it has to be top.
Yeah.
If you're going to get in the glossary. So
are you out or just
not
out?
Tonight, Matt. Not tonight. Matt Upson with us here at Portman Road. Arsenal leading Ipswich by 2-0. No changes made by Mikel Arteta at half-time. So Arsenal have got Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko, Ødegaard, Rice, Marino, Saka and Martinelli. Either side of centre-forward, Leandro Trossard. Header forward from Ben White. Ødegaard will chase. Palmer, the Ipswich keeper, comes out of his area, clears with his left foot straight out of play for an Arsenal throw. So Ipswich now have Palmer in goal. I guess you'd say Twansebi, O'Shea, Burgess, the 3 centre-backs. Jacob Greaves sort of left wing-back, left-back. Ben Johnson over on the right. Morsey, Kayusta and now Jack Taylor on at half-time for Enciso as the midfield 3. And George Hurst, good luck with this, George Hurst, just up front on his own. And Ipswich just are not going to see the ball.
I mean, all George Hurst can do really is just work hard, shut the ball down and create the odd foul. You know, it's very, very little service into him.
Ødegaard, half-court edge of the area, picks himself up, keeps going. Marino couldn't quite bring it under control inside the Ipswich box. Then he gets a tackle in on Taylor. Morsey's in a tight spot here. Again, Arsenal hunting impact around the Ipswich players. Marino goes down over Morsey, who was already on the floor. Marino reacts. Morsey doesn't like it. It's going to end up in a handshake. 10-man Ipswich trailing Arsenal 2-0.
I'm not sure if it is ending up in a handshake.
Maybe not.
I don't think Morsey fancies the handshake. at the moment. He's
you're right.
Not happy with something. I mean, it is frustrating, and I can see where he's coming from. And there was a lot of contact. I mean, it was based around, as you mentioned, the reaction of Arsenal, that swarming reaction to suffocate. The moment Morsey's been getting the ball all game, bang, someone's on it. Whether they're bumping him, nudging him, kicking him, tackling him, and it's a lot. And I think there was just a little afters from Marino when Morsey was on the floor and he reacted to it, stood up, grabbed hold of him. There's just a little shove on the back from Marino, and he made a lot of it, to be honest.
There was a handshake. The referee made them shake hands. They didn't look each other in the eye, and there was absolutely no genuine sentiment in the handshake whatsoever. Shirt tug on Jack Taylor from Saliba. Taylor gets a cross into the box. Hurst is there, trying to lay it back to Kai Houston. Now, that would have been a story if Ipswich had managed to get back in the game. White's clearance down the right. Saka was trying to get away. Greaves volleys it out of play, and that will be a throw-in for Arsenal. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Manchester United Wolves 0-0 over on Sports Extra. Fulham 1, Chelsea 0 at Craven Cottage. Commentary on the BBC Sport website and app. Leicester Liverpool at 4:30. Liverpool 6 points from the title, so win today. They can win it at Anfield next week, as we were discussing at half-time. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking the calls on 6:06 after Leicester-Liverpool. Saka down the right, floated cross to the far post, headed away by Twanzebe. Greaves chests it down, keeps it in play, hooks it up in the air, knocks it about 30 yards downfield. Hurst has got 4 defenders around him. Does really well for Ipswich there because he's won a foul. Saliba was sort of had both arms around him, and Hurst went down and wins the free kick.
Well, it was a good defensive header from Twanzebe as well. As that cross came in, Marino was lurking in the box. He'd had a couple of strides. He really attacked the ball well, and Twanzebe gets across and wins the header. Otherwise, I think that would have been in the back of the net. But that's the kind of thing Hurst can do. Just get his body in, win fouls, try and relieve pressure on his team. I think that's the best option that Ipswich have at the moment.
OK, we'll have a little guessing game, Matt, to keep us entertained.
Go on then.
First couple of Arsenal players coming off when the changes are made, please.
I'm going Saka. Copy Saka. I'm just looking... You're asking the question, why Saka out here in the second half a little bit? I'm looking at Nwaneri. It's just pan to Nwaneri on the bench. Actually, the camera has, and I think he's probably sitting there thinking, I'd like to get on the pitch, and Saka, let's protect him, and also Declan Rice.
Saka and Rice, OK.
Just so many minutes. Who are you going for?
Well, I mean, those are the obvious two. Let's not go exactly the same as you. I'll go Saka and Martinelli.
OK.
To come off first two.
All right.
But as you were saying at half-time, you feel like Ødegaard could do with being out there for a bit more as well.
Yeah, I think Ødegaard's enjoying himself. He's picking up the holes. He's had less match minutes this season. He's had a couple of, times out of the team and injury. But Rice just appears to be in every minute of every game.
Rice finds Saka just inside the Ipswich area on the right. Back to Rice, thought about the shot. Couple of blue shirts in his way. Short pass to his right to White. All Arsenal. Back again here to Kivior. Very advanced position, 30 yards from the Ipswich goal. Ødegaard, corner of the Ipswich penalty area, teasing Ipswich defenders. Back to Saka. You just feel like Arsenal are biding their time here and want to score. As you know, they're sometimes criticised. Now they're getting ready. Subs down beneath us. Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri getting ready to come.
Well, I think we're both right with the Saka shout. But is that a midfield player for Lewis Skelly?
Possibly.
I could see him slipping into midfield or switching with Zinchenko into midfield.
That's true, yeah. Ødegaard to Rice.
Doesn't look like Martinelli.
Producer Rob Nothman has said it won't be Raya. He's gone bold. Brave prediction. David Raya just standing here, 10 yards short of the halfway line, watching the game take place away to our right. Saka on the ball for Arsenal. 10 minutes gone second half. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Ødegaard receives it forward to Trossard. Try to turn it around the corner to Saka. Ipswich get it away for now. Rice collects for Arsenal. Ipswich stand off him. Inside right channel. 35 yards out. Short pass to Ødegaard. White on the outside. Back to Ødegaard again. Corner of the Ipswich area. Cross comes in and Palmer is able to grab it. The Arsenal attackers making that run to try and just get a touch on it. Marino was close to that. So no changes as yet. Has to be Nwaneri for Saka. Has to be Nwaneri for Saka.
And I'm not sure it's looking likely for Martinelli. Well, it could do. You could, put one of the players higher up. Lewis Skelly looks like he can play anywhere, if I'm honest.
It's just popped up on the Premier League app. It's Marino.
We're both wrong.
Who's going to be coming off. Although that Premier League app still says Ipswich 0, Arsenal 0, which is definitely wrong. It's Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. Hurst on the ball for Ipswich inside the Arsenal area. Onto his right foot. Hits the shot just wide. Good effort from George Hurst. Not going to get much help up there in the second half, but held on to it well, got into the shooting position and couldn't quite find the angle to nestle it in the bottom corner.
Yeah, good run, good centre-forward play, faces up Saliba, gets a little drop on him, touches it inside, and that's a good effort. I mean, he's been starved of service, and the fans have been starved of any action to get their bums off seats, to be honest, but that one was worth getting up for. It was a decent hit from Hurst.
Right, Bukayo Saka, warmly applauded by the Arsenal fans, roundly booed by the Ipswich fans, comes off. Nwaneri comes on. It is Lewis Skelly for Marino. Let's get the team news from our second Premier League commentary of the afternoon. Leicester against Liverpool. John Murray.
Well, for this match, Leicester must win, otherwise their relegation will be confirmed. Ruud van Nistelrooy makes 3 changes. So Fass comes back into the defence with Akoli on the bench, De Cordova-Reid for McAteer and Pereira in for Justin. Also Christensen, Buonanotte and 15-year-old Monga are among the substitutes. Liverpool make 2 changes. Szoboszlai and Gakpo back into the starting lineup for Jota and Jones. Alexander-Arnold is among the substitutes, and it looks as though Arsenal are going to make Liverpool wait, doesn't it?
It does. They are 2-0 up. They've made the double change. Thank you, John. Clinton Morrison alongside John for commentary of Leicester against Liverpool. If Arsenal win this game, Liverpool cannot be confirmed as champions. If they beat Leicester in that one this afternoon, but win that one this afternoon, then they can win the title at home to Tottenham at Anfield. Next Sunday it kicks off at 4:30. And you're right, Matt Zinchenko has popped into midfield and Lewis Skelly is in at left back for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, it could have gone the other way, couldn't it, really? Lewis Skelly could have just popped into midfield and done the job in there, but Zinchenko loves to play that midfield role, you feel. I don't think he, as he's progressing on in his career, those left-back positions and the 1v1s and all of that are not becoming more and more his thing, and I think dropping into midfield for Zinchenko, he really enjoys that.
Attacking practice for Arsenal. White's cross, low one, zipped into the near post. Palmer took it well, bounced just in front of him, got his great big hulking frame on top of the ball and took it cleanly. Next season, of course, that'll be 8 seconds you'll be allowed to hang on to that ball, Matt. You know that rule's coming in next season as well. They're going to try and enforce that more strictly.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes next season. You can tell I'm looking around for stuff to talk about here.
What's the time now then? It's the same time, isn't it?
I think
it's just something they're going to put a focus on.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, Matt. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Like the kicking the ball away from a restart, as Arsenal fans will be well aware of, that's been heavily big spotlight on that this season.
Chris Kavanagh, our referee this afternoon, sent off Declan Rice at home against Brighton for precisely that.
Was that Kavanagh, was it?
Yeah, that was our referee today. Here's Kayusta for Ipswich. Ipswich in the blue shirts with the white pinstripe with Greaves. Puts way too much on that left-footed pass forward looking for her. So Raya out to the edge of the penalty area, controls and plays it to White.
Well, it's my first trip to Portman Road this season. I'm very impressed with the commentary position.
Great, Matt, isn't it?
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great distance from the pitch and
great view, lots of
a
space.
Nice walk across the Bobby Robson Bridge on the way here.
Yeah, great history.
Very nice.
Around this football club. We've got the Sir Bobby Robson stand away to the left, Sir Alf Ramsey away to the right. Zinchenko playing the ball across to Ben White. White to Nwaneri. Nwaneri runs at Greaves, tries to beat him for pace on the outside. Greaves does well for Ipswich, sticks with him, gets his body in the way, and it goes behind for a goal. If you're in this position as Ipswich, Matt, what are you now looking to get out of this game as an individual?
As an individual, I think you're looking to be able to cope and just showcase what you can do. It's going to be a defensive aspect with the odd moment of can you find a pass, can you pick a pass, but it's a false game now, isn't it? And it's almost like it's been a false game right from the start at 11v11, but at 11v10, with the gulf between these two teams in terms of the confidence and how they're playing.
Yeah. But as you said, the shape of the game, the way the game was going didn't really change with the sending off anyway, did it?
No, but that says a lot about how Ipswich kind of started the game, and I think that's been the only disappointing thing for me. And I know I don't expect them to, go toe-to-toe with Arsenal in terms of where the two teams are at. But for me, you've got to show a little bit more.
Ipswich 0, Arsenal 2. We've got half an hour left to play in this game. Next break in play will take you back to Old Trafford. Here's Ødegaard outside of his left foot, spinning ball into the path of Trossard. Shea committed himself there. Trossard cuts it back, crosses towards Zinchenko. Ipswich managed to get enough bodies in the way to get it away, and then Taylor, the ball actually disappears from view above the roof of the west stand out of our eye line, eventually bounces on the halfway line. Saliba nods it forward and Declan Rice picks it up inside his own half, and Bukayo Saka is already receiving treatment down beneath us, sitting amongst the Arsenal substitutes. Ice pack being strapped to the back of his right leg. Leif Davis catching him in the first half, which is why Leif Davis was sent off.
Yes, it's one of those that is probably going to look quite bad tomorrow,
right,
when it's swelled up a bit, and it's just a kick on the back of the Achilles, so it's not going to be great, but hopefully it'll just clear up and within a few days.
Waneri to Trossard, again just inside the Ipswich area, taking you to Old Trafford shortly. Ødegaard, good run made by White on the outside, that'll cut back. Waneri, good block by Greaves, came sliding in to block that shot. Morsey dummies the clearance with his left foot, whips it away with his right. Out it goes for a throw. Come in Charlie Slater from Old Trafford.
65 minutes gone, still 0-0, but the best bit of play a few moments ago from Manchester United that we've had all game. Should be no surprise that Bruno Fernandes was involved off the substitute bench. He found Eriksen found Garnacho. Square ball across the face of goal. Højlund inches away at the back post from tapping in. Goalless.
Declan Rice outside of his right foot prods one here to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly quickly on to Martinelli on the left. One-on-one against Johnson. Johnson backs off. Martinelli curls the crossing with the right foot. Greaves always good in the air for Ipswich. Leaks, flicks the header away. Ben White comes jogging towards it. Back to Ødegaard, corner of the box, thinking about the curler. Dummies that with the left foot. Back onto the left foot. Low one, Palmer down to his right. Clutches it to his chest to Craven Cottage next. Sahel Sahi.
We've reached the midway point of the second half here, Alistair. Still Fulham 1, Chelsea 0. Better from the visitors in the second half. Neto's come close. Leno's saved his effort. He smothered it at the second attempt. And then Sancho cuts it in from the left-hand side. A right-footed shot was on target. Comfortable once again for the Fulham goalkeeper. Fulham 1, Chelsea 0.
George Hurst fouled by Kivior. A little bit over-exuberant in the challenge. Right behind him, knocks him to the floor. Free kick for Ipswich. It's now Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 2 in the WSL. Villa had got themselves 2 goals up. Ebony Salmon scored. Jessica Naz has got one back for Tottenham. Tottenham 1, Villa 2. It finished Manchester City 1, Everton 1 in the WSL. And after we see what Ipswich do with their free kick just short of the halfway line, we'll take you to Hampden Park. St Johnstone against Celtic. Scottish Cup semi-final. Aberdeen beat 10-man Hearts yesterday in extra time. They await the winners. The final will be played Saturday the 24th of May. Palmer with the free kick, headed infield by O'Shea, chested down here. Jack Taylor has an effort on goal. It takes a deflection. It's into the arms of David Raya. Comes sprinting out to the edge of the area. Ipswich players get in his way. They blocked him. It's going to be a free kick for Arsenal. So Gavin Wallace, tell us what's happening at Hampden Park.
Not much, to be honest. It's 0-0 just now between St Johnstone and Celtic. 25 in the clock, Ali, though. James Forrest had a snapshot 10 minutes ago. It came to him from a cross ball, and he kind of with his left foot just put it wide of the post. At the moment, though, St Johnstone 0, Celtic 0.
Celtic who can win the title, Scottish Premiership title next week. A point is enough now. 12:30 kick-off at Tannadice. Dundee United against Celtic next week. Here's Waneri. Escapes the attentions of Greaves. 20 minutes gone second half, and so far Arsenal have not added to their goal tally since the break. Zinchenko wide to Martinelli, back to Zinchenko. Here's Rice, central position 40 yards out. Lewis Skelly involved again. Zinchenko across to Saliba. Bit of pace on that pass. Finds Trossard just outside the area on the right. Ødegaard is wide of him. Ødegaard runs in towards Greaves. White makes the overlapping run. Ødegaard doesn't use him, keeps going, then looks for the cutback, stumbles as he hits the pass, and Ipswich should be able to get it away with Kayusta, but all they can do every time now is just knock it down the line. It goes out for a throw.
Yeah, it's painful for the Ipswich players at the moment. I mean, Arsenal, they do work these wide areas really well. They've always got a player overlapping, and generally the offload and the timing of the offload from Ødegaard or Waneri or Trossard or Rice is absolutely spot on. They're very clever at working those little opportunities at that wide corner of the 18-yard box.
Ødegaard there was looking for the tiniest gap. To try and thread one through to Trossard, and nearly found it, didn't he?
What I love about him is if he can't thread it through, he lifts it over. The amount of times you see him lift that ball over is very clever.
one of the great lines we always use in our golf coverage, which isn't ours when we're at the Masters, is Ben Crenshaw talks about the touch you need around the greens at Augusta, and he describes it as a jeweler's touch. And I think that's similar with Ødegaard. It's the precision, isn't it? Of the jeweler, and that's exactly what Ødegaard is looking to do.
Exactly, the weight of that ball has to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And it often is. Saliba to Rice. Arsenal pulling Ipswich all over the place. Ipswich standing firm at the moment. Relegation for them won't be confirmed today. It could be for Leicester if they don't beat Liverpool. Commentary coming at 4:30. Manchester United Wolves at the moment over on Sports Extra. Ipswich just holding their position here. It's like the Alamo, just standing on the edge of their penalty area. Red and white shirts buzzing around the place, looking for spaces, looking for the opening. Waneri, little ball poked back to Ødegaard, edge of the box. Ben Johnson in front of him. White makes the run on the outside. Ødegaard slightly overhits that down to the byline. Greaves spots the opportunity, makes the tackle. Ipswich throw.
I mean, it makes it harder for Arsenal to score when you play like this, because it's not a game, is it? It's just defend.
It's not
attack.
much fun, is it?
No, it's not a game. So it's harder to defend because Ipswich never come out of the 18-yard box. So you've got to produce something a little bit special, whether it's a long-range effort, which I think Arsenal, Ødegaard's just have one, but maybe start to hit a few more longer-range shots. That'll force Ipswich to have to come out and get blocks in.
Here he goes, Ødegaard up to the edge of the area looking for Martinelli. Martinelli receives it just inside the box, hits the shot, big deflection, behind it goes for a corner. I've got a feeling, Matt, Arsenal PSG a week on Tuesday won't be like this.
You might be right. You might be a little bit more open, shall we say, going toe to toe.
Yeah.
Now you've mentioned it, I can't wait to watch it, to be honest.
Can't wait.
I think that'll be a brilliant game.
Yeah, two really, really good teams. Week on Tuesday, first leg at home at the Emirates Stadium. We will be there. And the fixture schedule works nicely for Arsenal. They play the game Tuesday. They've then got a Premier League game against Bournemouth on the Saturday, so there's a nice break before that one. And then the second leg isn't till the Wednesday. It couldn't really be much better for them. Here's Ødegaard, back to Zinchenko. Zinchenko to Rice on the left, threads it through. Trossard, touch and turn onto the left foot. Angle is tight, tackled again. It goes behind for the corner.
There's just no space in that box whatsoever. Three Arsenal players were pulling Waneri's onto the edge of the box. If Trossard could maybe just get his head up and dink one to the edge, that's where the space is.
Corner taken short. Back it comes into Martinelli. Hits it with the side foot with power. Greaves is out really quickly for Ipswich to make the block. David Raya is lonely here inside the Arsenal half on his own. Picks his pass perfectly though. 10-man Ipswich 0. Arsenal 2. Declan Rice on the charge. Feeds it to Ødegaard. Ødegaard looking for Trossard. Kayusta makes the block. His pass out intercepted. Lewis Skelly to Rice. Cross comes in. Another deflection. And behind it goes for the corner. And Tottenham have come back from 2-0 down in the WSL. 70th minute, 20 minutes to go. They've equalised now, Tottenham 2, Villa 2. As I say, the WSL highlights follow Match of the Day 2 tonight, BBC One. So Match of the Day 2 is at 10:30. If you missed that, obviously it's available on the iPlayer, but it'll be followed tonight by the Women's Football Show, also available on the BBC iPlayer. Declan Rice, clever little ball to Trossard. Trossard's right-footed shot finds its way through. Palmer's beaten this time. Crowded penalty area full of blue shirts, but Arsenal kept coming. Trossard's got his second of the afternoon. It's Ipswich 0, Arsenal 3.
Well, straight away there's an inquest in the Ipswich box with the Ipswich players. It's Hurst, I think, who finds himself in the position where he's in a defensive role. He's in the space along the 6-yard box, but Declan Rice plays a lovely little reverse ball into Trossard, and Hurst just doesn't have that instinct to really get out and block that angle, and he just gets his shot off Trossard, and it goes right through the legs of Hurst and into the bottom corner.
Goal in the first half went through the legs of O'Shea. Goal in the second half goes through the legs of Hurst.
Yeah, and that just tells you that you can have as many players in the box as you want. If you don't get the right line of approach, the angle, the distance, all of those little fine details at this level, that's what matters. Bodies in there doesn't have the effect. You have to be in the right spot.
Kieran Tierney getting ready to come on for Arsenal to make a 100th Premier League appearance. Raheem Sterling also about to be thrown into action by Mikel Arteta, who gives him a high five. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 3. Trossard's got 2, Martinelli's got the other. Let's get back to Old Trafford. Charlie Slater watching Manchester United against Wolves.
We're approaching the final 15 minutes of the game. Another really good chance for United. Garnacho cutting the ball back in the direction of Bruno Fernandes, but I think he, with his left foot, kicks it off his standing foot and it goes horribly wide. We still haven't been able to find a breakthrough. 0-0.
20 minutes to play here at Portman Road. This game was over a long time ago.
I think your prediction of Martinelli, looking at the technical area of the Arsenal box of Martinelli to come off, is probably going to be bang on, looking at who could be coming on.
3-0 to Arsenal. Ipswich haven't beaten Arsenal in a league game since September 1984. I know you were here as a young man, Matt, but even that is before your time. That was a Division 1 game. I looked that up. Russell Osman and Romeo Zondervan scored the goals.
I remember those names.
Yeah,
though.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. The ball through from Ipswich into the arms of David Raya. Arsenal leading 3-0. What's happening at Craven Cottage, Sahel Sahi?
Still Fulham 1, Chelsea 0. It's a good game, this. Chelsea now attacking for an equaliser. Cole Palmer came close only moments ago into the penalty area, left-hand side, but he smashed his effort high and wide. He's not scored in his last 15 games in all competitions. It's still Fulham 1, Chelsea 0.
Into the last 20 minutes here, Ipswich 0, Arsenal 3. Just looking up the match report of the Ipswich home win, the only one this season against Chelsea, late December. Headline on the BBC Sport website was Ipswich win dents Chelsea title tilt, or something like that, and Chelsea have fallen a long way off that since then. Here's Morsey. Declan Rice read that brilliantly. He's 20 yards away from that. He could see the play building up, and he came on a sort of bending run round to the right, and the ball just ran into his path.
I don't think you can coach that.
No.
It's an instinct, isn't it, that players have, and he's amazing at it.
Martinelli's coming off. Sterling's coming on. Declan Rice gets a rest. He'll be given a standing ovation by the Arsenal fans as well, which he thoroughly deserves. Kieran Tierney. And we're going to get into another situation, Matt. The PSV game I did earlier this season, the second leg. So Arsenal have won the first leg of that last 16 games, 7-1. They got 5 left-backs on the field
at
one point. So now we can't have Calafiori today, but we have got Tierney. We have got Zinchenko, we have got Lewis Skelly, so we've got 3 out there.
Kivior's played out there.
Kivior can play left back, good point. Yeah.
There's another one.
Yeah, exactly. So they're doing their best to do it again. Sterling's going out wide left. Throw in for Arsenal on the right. Leicester against Liverpool to come. If Leicester don't win the game, they will be relegated, so they will join Southampton in the Championship next season. But this Arsenal win means that Liverpool cannot be confirmed as Premier League champions this afternoon. Here is Kivior across to Saliba. Saliba finds Ødegaard inside right channel for Arsenal. They're looking for a fourth. Trossard looking for a hat-trick. Thought about the hit with the left foot edge of the box, and then foot in from Burgess to win the ball for Ipswich. Morsey runs it up to the halfway line. Lewis Skelly's with him. He holds him off, holds Trossard off. He's then fouled by Trossard. Free kick for Ipswich. Back to Old Trafford, Charlie Slater.
Where Wolves have taken the lead, and in some style, off the substitutes bench, Pablo Sarabia 23 yards out with a free kick just to the right of centre. He's left Andre Onana with no chance, bending it right into the top corner where the Spiders live. It's Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Where the Spiders live and the owl sleeps. Very good, Charlie Slater. He's been listening to his Commentator's View podcast, another one that is featured in the great glossary of football commentary. Ipswich free kick coming. We're going to take you to Hampden Park in a second as well. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 3. Palmer's free kick is hit high into the air. Zinchenko heads it away. Twanzebe nods it forward. Miscued back heel from Burgess. Lewis Skelly gets onto the ball. Gavin Wallace watching the Scottish Cup semi-final.
Yeah, it has been a breakthrough. It's for Celtic. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1. Captain fantastic, Mr Dependable, Callum McGregor, edge of the box. Hatate with a lovely layoff, and the captain just swung onto it with his inside of his left foot. Bottom corner, Fisher no chance. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1.
Winners will face Aberdeen in the final. Here's Twanzebe. Back to O'Shea. O'Shea forward to Morsey. 15 minutes to play here at Portman Road. Ben Johnson wide on the right. Back to O'Shea again. Some blessed possession for Ipswich, and O'Shea, little back heel to himself. Deceives Trossard. Forward to Hurst. Awkward one, but brings it down well. Turns away from Kivior. Jack Taylor starts to make a run through the middle. Hurst going on the outside against Kivior. Still going. Gets the cross in beyond everyone. Although Greaves has come thundering up from left back to keep the ball in play for Ipswich. Rolls it back to Burgess. This place will go nuts, actually, Matt, if Ipswich score.
It will. I mean, Hurst has done quite well in the second half. He's had a couple of runs, hasn't he? But he's just had to manufacture himself and use his physicality and pace and just be really direct. But you're right. I mean, the crowd are just waiting for something, aren't they?
Ipswich's next game away at Newcastle next Saturday, which is another one that will not be easy for them. And actually, Phil White, our producer, sent us a note at half-time making a very good point. Leif Davis, Newcastle-born, said the one game he was most looking forward to this season, I know, was going to be St James's Park against Newcastle, and he's got himself sent off this afternoon and won't play, which is very sad for him. Here's Waneri, who's had a fabulous season for Arsenal, the 18-year-old. Walking pace from him on the right because the ball is over on the left here with Sterling. Sterling drawing Ipswich defenders to him. Back to Zinchenko. There's Tierney. Tierney to Trossard. Back to Zinchenko. Edge of the Ipswich area. Trossard slides it through. Good skills from Sterling. Thinks about the shot, then tries the dribble. Offside flag goes up. And that'll be a free kick for Ipswich. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 3. Wolves are 1 up at Manchester United. Commentary of that one over on Sports Extra. And Fulham still lead Chelsea by 1-0.
I mean, Waneri on this right-hand side, I mean, he does so well with the ball. He's such a technical player, but just, I'm not sure if he's quite got that turn of pace to go past players in that area, you know. I see him so much as a number 10, and I think he's super talented.
I'm told that's his best position.
Yeah, now, but he's going to find it hard to get into that a position in a team where that position doesn't exist. So can he play a midfield 3, an attacking midfield 3, or is he going to play wide?
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a tough journey for him if it stays in this kind of formation and format, because I think his skill really is in that number 10 position centrally.
Former Arsenal and England centre-back Matt Upson with us here at Portman Road. Another goal in the Scottish Cup semi-final, Gavin Wallace.
St Johnstone have been doing so good until now, despite all the pressure. It's St Johnstone 0, Celtic 2. Sam Curtis gets into all sorts of trouble inside the box after Callum McGregor slips through, dives in Maeda, he gets the better and slips it home. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 2, Ali.
6:06 tonight. We'll follow our commentary of Leicester against Liverpool. If you want to have your say on the weekend's action, you can chat to Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage. Ipswich are playing out from the back here. Another goal at Craven Cottage, I'm hearing. Sahel Sahi.
Chelsea have equalised. It's Fulham 1, Chelsea 1. A ball into the penalty area. It was headed down for Tyreek George. And the 19-year-old has scored his first Premier League goal for Chelsea. We're all level here. Fulham 1, Chelsea 1.
There you go. We were just talking about Ethan Waneri here, and Tyreek George has scored for Chelsea this afternoon. Match of the day 2, BBC 1, 10:30 to see all the goals. Hurst in an offside position as Ipswich tried to find him, so that will be a free kick for Arsenal. We are meandering our way here, Matt, towards the full-time whistle.
But a lot of these things, and I know, you know, from an entertainment perspective, it's not the most thrilling second half of football, but I'm looking at Arsenal, and I think that partnership, certainly between Kivior and Saliba, it's another 90 minutes playing together, understanding each other.
Yeah.
Kivior and Lewis Skelly and Ben White and all the different people coming in that are going to be needed at some point, you know, from now to the rest of the season. It's been a positive afternoon from Arsenal. Forget the result, which is positive for Arsenal, but it's just about building those relationships going into bigger games than what this one will be.
Tierney was sprinting away down the left-hand side. His cross was blocked. Ipswich have cleared. Greaves heads it forward. Couldn't find Hurst. Waneri senses an opportunity here because Greaves is not at home. He collects the ball and feeds Ødegaard. Ødegaard in the middle of the Ipswich half. Low pass into the path of Sterling. Sterling's got Ben Johnson backing off here. Sterling looking for options. Zinchenko is there. Wide on the left is Tierney. Wasn't properly looking at that ball. It rolls under his foot, but he's able to keep it in play on the left. Back to Zinchenko it comes. Just over 10 minutes to play. Trossard with 2, Martinelli with 1, and Arsenal leading Ipswich 3-0. Ødegaard, edge of the box. Lewis Skelly pops up in space, looking for a little 1-2 with Trossard. Might work. Right-footed shot deflected and behind for a corner. That nearly came off.
Yeah, there's a little ricochet, wasn't it? Just bounced off the Ipswich player. It was a left-footed shot from Lewis Skelly, and then it just pops onto his right foot, gets a quick shot off there, and I think it's Greaves, isn't it, comes back in and just makes a last. He's made a lot of blocks in this second half.
So Leicester could be relegated this afternoon. Liam Delap is waiting to come on for Ipswich. They will be going down as well. Second season in a row that the 3 promoted teams will immediately be relegated back to the Championship. Arsenal have taken their corner. Zinchenko's played it back to Waneri. Curling high cross from him towards the far post. Kivior gets a header on it, but it goes behind. So it'll be 2 seasons in a row that the 3 promoted teams have gone down. The only other time that's happened in the Premier League history was late 90s, 97, 98. But you do want to be really interested to see what happens next season, Matt, with the teams coming up. And actually mentioning that, Aaron Paul on air tomorrow from 2:30 around the ground. It'll be a fantastic afternoon of football. Big games, Championship, League One and League Two. Our coverage starts at 2:30. Drive back on air from 5:15, and then the Monday Night Club back with Mark Chapman 7 o'clock tomorrow night, which will feature an hour-long special on the 20th anniversary. 20th anniversary, is it? No, it's not that. It's an hour-long special on Jose Mourinho. 20th anniversary, yes, that's right, of winning the Premier League title with Chelsea in 2005. I'm confusing myself.
Is it?
No, it is.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Sure?
Yeah, top programme that will be tomorrow night.
We're out.
Monday Night Club. Hurst and Kayusta have come off. Delap and Luongo have come on for Ipswich. They're trailing Arsenal 3-0. Wolves are 1 up at Manchester United, and it's now Fulham 1, Chelsea 1. And for both Fulham and Chelsea, in terms of potential European qualification, that's quite an important last 10, 15 minutes or so. So commentary on that one continues over on the BBC Sports website and app.
I think the Arsenal team selection does raise an interesting question on who's going to start on Wednesday, though, doesn't it?
Yes. And just from what you were saying, Matt, about Saliba and Kivior, I wonder whether he wants to give them another game. Just
definitely,
exactly for what you were saying.
I think that your centre backs, you can almost churn those games out, and it's not a problem.
Odegaard, ball to Sterling, back to Odegaard. Ipswich desperately trying to get the challenges in. Sterling fouls Taylor. Free kick for Ipswich just outside their own penalty area. Back to Old Trafford. Charlie Slater,
where Mason Mount almost scored a brilliant equaliser. It was all down to Christian Eriksen's ball with the outside of his right boot. He curled it away from the goalkeeper. Mount threw himself at it, but could only put the ball over the top of the crossbar with less than 4 minutes remaining. Still Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Leandro Trossard won't get his hat-trick this afternoon. He scored 2. Arsenal lead 3-0. Unfamiliar name, I think, for a lot of our listeners coming on. 22-year-old Nathan Butler Oyedeji. Not his Arsenal debut, actually. Made his Arsenal debut against Dinamo Zagreb earlier this season. Last couple of seasons has been on loan at Accrington and Cheltenham. Where's number 37? Stocky little figure. Big roar from the Arsenal fans as he comes on, and Leandro Trossard has done his job, and I wonder whether he'll start again, actually, Matt, on Wednesday. Trossard, because he's not in the first choice front three, you wouldn't think, for Champions League.
No, but it wouldn't surprise me if he played Marino in that position. That's why Marino's come off, because he knows he's going to play in that position against PSG, and he needs another game in the centre forward role.
One thing you can be sure of, Liam Delap's not got long on the field for Ipswich. He will put himself about. That is what he always does. Trying to control a ball wide on the left. He's been tackled by Saliba. Arsenal have it again. 6 minutes plus added time remaining.
I do love the way he plays.
Oh, I do.
He is, if you were to describe a burly centre forward, he fits the bill, doesn't he? I mean, and he just so physical, so direct, powerful.
He looks for that confrontation,
he
doesn't
does.
he, Matt? Odegaard on the ball, 25 yards out. Another goal at Hampden Park, Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, it's for Celtic, Ali. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 3. Adamida with a tap in. Hatate broke right, got right through and just slipped in the former Norwich forward to the tap in right there from 2 yards out. St Johnstone 0, Celtic 3.
Arsenal with Kivior have the ball just outside the Ipswich penalty area. Ipswich reduced to 10 men just beyond the half-hour mark in this game. Leif Davis given a straight red card for a challenge on Bukayo Saka. 2-0 down at half-time, 3-0 down now. Arsenal very comfortable. Here's Sterling. Sterling up against Taylor, looking for the 1-2 with Zinchenko. Twanzebe shuts that down, back to Kivior. Wide to Tierney, Zinchenko's available again. Ben White's got his arms in the air. Zinchenko sees him. Control from Ben White. They've not hit many shots from range. You're right, Matt. Here's Odegaard. Might think about it now. No, it's dainty skills again. Morsey trying to stick with him. Now Waneri fires the ball into Zinchenko, surrounded by Ipswich players, knocked off it. Free kick for Arsenal, 25 yards from goal in a central position.
Yeah, Morsey's not happy. Picks the ball up straight away, has a go at the referee, doesn't see this as a foul. Zinchenko, the ball's kind of underneath the studs on his feet. It kind of goes up under accidentally, and I think Morsey does actually win the ball. He might then have a bit of follow-through into the back of Zinchenko, who naturally falls backwards and falls over, but it's a soft foul in what is a really nice position, because it's a fair way out, but sometimes they're a little bit better when they're further away, these free kicks, because you get the ability to hit a bit of power, get it up and down over the wall.
The man
where's Declan Rice?
Exactly. It's an opportunity for someone to say, do you know what? Maybe I could take one against PSG.
It's probably the position that he took his first free kick, isn't it? Where everyone thought Saka was going to hit that left-footed, and he came the other way and whipped it around the wall. It's nearly identical position to that.
Two incredible free kicks, incredible commentary that was as well. I was listening to that live on 5 Live with Ian Dennis, and the cameras at the moment are on Declan Rice's face, and he's watching to see if Zinchenko can possibly do something similar against Ipswich. With Arsenal leading 3-0, Zinchenko hits that with power into the wall, comes back to Kivior, stabs it back to Zinchenko. Rice's position as free kick taker is safe for now. Here's Ødegaard. Ødegaard just rolls it deliciously into the path of White. Back to Ødegaard, drops a shoulder, hits the shot low off the post and across the goal line, and Ben Johnson is able to clear.
Well, there's the shot. And that's what the second half's been crying out for, to be honest, because Ipswich just blocking up that whole 18-yard box line. Manufacture half a yard of space, which is exactly what Ødegaard does inside, and he drags a lovely left-footed shot in towards the near post and just pings off the foot of the post and right across the goal. But he's got to have more shots from range.
I thought he was going to do it again there. This one falls. Oh, to Butler Oyedeji. The shot is hit into the ground. Palmer stretches, tips it over the bar. Arsenal corner. They lead 3-0 at Portman Road. And another goal in the Scottish Cup semi-final. Gavin Wallace.
Right on half-time as well. Dyson Maeda. It was lovely from Rio Hitati. Cut across the 18-yard box. Slipped him in nicely. And then Alan McGregor takes this dummy run alley. It opens up the space. He places it under Fisher. And at half-time, St Johnstone 0, Celtic 4.
Ødegaard from the quick corner back to Sterling. Edge of the area. Here's Zinchenko. Now Waneri inside the box. Shots deflected. Finds the bottom corner. Arsenal do have their fourth. Ethan Waneri with the shot, took a massive deflection. Palmer dived one way, the ball went the other, and it is Ipswich 0, Arsenal 4. Liverpool are definitely not winning the title at Leicester this afternoon. There's been a goal at Craven Cottage, Sahel Sahi.
And it might be a winning goal for Chelsea. Fulham 1, Chelsea 2. The goal coming in the 93rd minute. It was worked down the right-hand side. Neto picked it up just inside the area. He turned and smashed it home, left-footed. Bernd Leno had no chance. Fulham 1, Chelsea 2.
Chelsea win puts them on 57 points, level with Nottingham Forest and Villa. So the battle for European football next season is a fascinating one. Matt Upson just watching the replay of the Waneri goal.
These goals have been so similar this afternoon, and to me it all boils down to Ipswich have just been a yard off of everything, and that in itself is something that can be avoidable. I think that's the frustrating thing for this Ipswich performance. Yes, they've been outclassed by a team that are better, but they've just been a yard off all the time. And while there's loads of bodies in the 18-yard box when that shot comes in from Waneri, none of them are close enough to really affect the ball. And that's been across the whole pitch.
Waneri, by the way, has got 9 goals now this season.
Impressive, isn't it?
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
18-year-old, 4 of those in the Premier League. That being the 4th of them. The deflection came off Cameron Burgess. Just saw some classic Delap there. Ball played up to him, which he knew he wasn't going to win. Just wanted a fight with Saliba. just wanted a bit of a dust up. Here's Sterling. Sterling 40 yards out. Can Arsenal find a 5th? White to Ødegaard. Ødegaard trickles into the Ipswich area, turns 360 degrees, turns again. Eustace getting dizzy trying to chase him there. It was Luongo actually trying to stop him that time. Waneri's dragged back, continues his run. Greaves is all over him there. Waneri can't get that ball. It bounces twice and goes behind for the goal kick. 90th minute of the game. Late goal for Aston Villa in the WSL. That's in added time. They're 3-2 up at Tottenham. Connor Chaplin now is coming on for Ipswich to replace Sam Morsey. Arsenal leading by 4-0. And picked a strong team at the start of the game. They meant business today, Arsenal. Leif Davis sent off in the first half. And actually, from minute 1, Matt, there was only ever going to be one winner here, wasn't there?
Absolutely, from the first kick of the game. They were never in the game, Ipswich, in my view. It was a very assured start to the game from Arsenal. They kind of carried on from where they left off in the Bernabeu midweek. And the way they've used the ball and the confidence the team has, they have been a difficult side to play against, no doubt. But Ipswich will go in disappointed.
Wolves still 1 up at Manchester United. That would take them to 38 points. West Ham on 36. Ipswich losing this game on 21. 15 points to play for. If they get the 15 points, they could go level with West Ham if West Ham lost all their games. But again, the goal difference between the two teams is 16 goals. So this today effectively relegates Ipswich. Not confirmed, because we know miracles can happen in sport. But I think all Ipswich fans know, and have known for a while, they are going down. We also know that Liverpool are not going to win the title today, but if Leicester don't beat them in our 4:30 kickoff, then Leicester will be relegated today. 6:06 follows our commentary of Leicester-Liverpool. Here's Ødegaard on the ball, being manhandled by Jack Taylor. Another free kick for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta just watching, hoping that no further knots picked up in the last 3 minutes of this game. One more Premier League game against Crystal Palace on Wednesday night, then a weekend off, and then on Tuesday week, first leg Champions League semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain. Sterling drops a shoulder, cuts in from the left-hand side, finds Lewis Skelly, looking for the runner Sterling again. Ball is blocked and cleared by O'Shea. Back to Tierney, clever skill from Tierney, cross comes in, goes behind for another Arsenal corner. Matt Upson.
I mean, they haven't dropped off it at all, Arsenal. I think that's the biggest compliment I can give them this afternoon, is the fact that they've played this game in the same tempo, the same mindset, right from that first whistle to now being 4-0 up with an extra man on the pitch, and it's been on cruise control for a very long time, but they've applied themselves. Mikel Arteta has barely had to put any messages onto the pitch. It's like this team now understands the requirements, it knows what the levels are, and it's delivering them.
Remote control, total control for Arsenal today. Sterling back to Zinchenko's drive just over the bar and into those Ipswich fans behind the goal. That'll be a goal kick for Ipswich. Celtic 4-0 up at half-time in the Scottish Cup semi-final. Wolves still 1-0 up at Manchester United. Last we heard, Chelsea were 2-1 up at Fulham. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, by the way, starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Coverage and commentary begins on Sports Extra from 5:45, and the World Snooker Championship continues as well today. We'll bring you updates here on 5 Live, but it's available to watch BBC One, BBC Two, the iPlayer, all the evening sessions on BBC 4 as well. As Alex Palmer, Ipswich's keeper, clears, we have 1 minute of added time remaining. Arsenal strolling to a 4-0 win over Ipswich, which will close the gap on Liverpool to 10 points, which is why Liverpool cannot win the Premier League title this afternoon. Ben White's at walking pace. Everyone here is waiting for the full-time whistle. What a week it was for Arsenal. Their fans enjoying the trip to the Bernabeu to see Arsenal go through over the two legs against Real Madrid with the win, the late goal from Martinelli, and here it's been very comfortable. Saliba's pass, though, intercepted late on, and Jack Taylor still giving it his all for Ipswich, trying to bring it in from the left-hand side. Still going, he's going to hit one from a long way out, skidding shot, bounces wide of the goal, and Raya watches it go past. He's not had a save to make today, is he, Raya? No.
Not a save. I mean, I don't think has there been a shot on target from...
Not sure there has.
Maybe. Not anything of note,
no,
shall we say. He's been very, very comfortable.
There we go then. Full-time whistle blows. Arsenal beat Ipswich by 4-0. Wolves still ahead at Old Trafford. The result today effectively relegates Ipswich, but their fans knew they were never going to get out of it. Liverpool can't win the title this afternoon. And exactly what Mikel Arteta wanted. 10 days before the first leg of that Champions League semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain, there was the injury concern over Bukayo Saka. He wasn't given too much football in the second half, but as long as he comes out okay, Matt Upson, very satisfactory afternoon for Arsenal.
Yeah, if you could have picked a run-out for this Arsenal team after the midweek, away from home in the Premier League, this game has presented the ideal scenario for the players, for the manager, to build partnerships again in areas of the pitch that players need minutes, to get players in the action who have been out, i.e. Bukayo Saka, to build confidence and to just get that game out of your legs, really. I mean, it's been used as a tool for that. Ipswich really weren't competitive in any way, to be honest, right from the off. But Arsenal have taken full advantage of this opportunity, delivered a good performance, and are now in good swing for a Premier League midweek fixture, and then the big game starts to happen.
Yeah, they get a break the following weekend, and then it's PSG, and they've also moved 7 points clear of Newcastle. A little bit of a cushion there. Arsenal in second place, 10 points behind Liverpool. Trossard with 2, Martinelli with 1, 18-year-old Ethan Nwaneri with the late goal, which sees it finish at Portman Road. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 4.